Righto, hello Val Verde, welcome back to another commentary with myself and Richard Jakeson.
What kind of tree is everywhere? A common tree.
Alright guys, very good.
I'm really hungover, we're really hungover.
Yeah, full disclosure, we drank too much last night on the live stream. Can't remember what we said. I apparently pledged money to someone else. I have no idea what's going on.
So let's have some in-depth analysis.
Yes, yeah. So today we're going to be doing a commentary to Aliens, which is a bit of a, well, clickbait to be honest.
To be fair, I've never done any commentary on Aliens. So this is all new. Well, it's not new to me. I've seen it a bunch of times, but this is new to me to that degree.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. I did one somewhere. I can't remember where I did it.
Some YouTube channel or something.
So yeah, we thought we'd do this. Obviously, we did Alien before, and that's up on the channel. And if you haven't listened to that, go and listen to it, because otherwise there'll be spoilers.
Oh no!
Oh no! And yeah, I won't bother discussing Aliens ahead of doing it. We're just gonna get rolling and do it on the fly, like.
Spoilers: that aliens lose,
or do they? But who was the alien? Are we the alien?
The alien was in your heart all along.
The alien is fine. I don't know, that's a weird...
The Queen is fine. The power lifter is fine. Adam Clayton is fine.
The Bishop is not fine. Okay, so if you guys, we're watching it on Blu-ray. If you get to the menu and we're at play, so I'm going to hit play at the sound of the now. There we go.
I've really got the feeling this is going to be one of these kind of deliriously kind of drunk, hungover.
Yeah.
20th Century Fox logo is here, so there you go, you're ready to go. I'm detecting energy in the room of the nature that this is going to be a bit silly, and I'm not sure it's going to necessarily be a good thing. So stay tuned, everybody!
Again, I come back to what I said though when we did Event Horizon yesterday. Like, all the stuff about Alien, if you're sitting here expecting us to just laundry list off all of the sort of trivia and facts and all that kind of thing, I mean, we'll discuss some that I'd say pop up, but it's all out there, man. Like, this is about stuff.
I'm happy to get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's one that lends itself well to it. But yeah, at this point, maybe when you and the other one did the commentary, there was less content about. Because
possibly
we were doing commentaries when people weren't really doing commentaries particularly.
Yeah.
But now the game has changed, and it's not the case anymore. So hey, you're here with us. We're having a good time. We're going to talk about the film. We're having a little bit of analysis. We're going to look at James Cameron. This reminds me awfully of The Fly.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
But I should say, sorry, we're watching the theatrical version. I will put that in the
description
and title. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no having a go. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I was just trying to head off at the past the people who go, you didn't mention this or that and the other. And it's like, look, Wikipedia mentions those things. Like, we're not here for that. We're just here to discuss this film. When was the first time you saw this then? What was your...
There is a minor story about this. So this was on that television, on ITV, I guess, or something. And my neighbours were having like a big barbecue. And we were kids, so I don't even think we were second. My bro might have been secondary school, he was 2 years older than me. And there was a bouncy castle and a barbecue and such. And my brother was like, right, we have to set the video for Aliens, because Aliens is on. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, there's like a sequel to Alien.
What's an Aliens?
Exactly, precisely. Because bless my Adrian Biddle, who we just watched Event Horizon from yesterday.
Yeah.
My bro was really good at recommending movies when I was a kid. He's very important in my film taste. So I've made this far too long. Basically, we were videoing Aliens, and then my brother and I stole some beer and stashed it in the electric cupboard in our house.
Nice.
And then Mum rumbled the beer thieving, but that meant
deflected
from the Alien tape.
Nice.
So we went off and watched Alien in this awful televised 4:3 pan and scan format.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those things. Like, this is one of these movies where, like, oh god, experiences have changed now, and the way we watch formats and stuff is different. But the whole concept of this in pan and scan makes me feel nauseous.
Yeah.
I mean, because Cameron is someone. So what you like about him, he always uses the frame.
Yeah. What was the thing with Terminator 2? Didn't he shoot it in a special way? It was specially shot, or on a film stock that was designed to be optimised for video or something like that?
Yeah, right. There was some kind of malarkey where it was. I think Terminator 2 is one of the films that came out on that. There's a VHS format that's equivalent to 1080p that you need. If you imagine like an HD VHS, like it was on that and stuff like that.
Canale.
Yeah, I believe. See, watching this, having watched Event Horizon yesterday, and obviously the personnel that carry over, including Biddle and stuff.
Yeah.
Event Horizon really doesn't try to hide its influences.
No. Which is sort of, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not remaking this, but it's
No. It just feels a bit on the nose sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the debate here is the greatest sequel of all time. I mean, wind your necks in, everybody. Let's take a breath and talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking great movie. Like, it really, really is. And I think what makes it work as a sequel is that it does something different, i.e. it ups the stakes. It's not just telling this. It's telling a very similar story. Let's not fool ourselves. But it raises the risk. It raises the scope. It adds to the mythology. Builds on the character. I say character because our returning character is Ripley, unless you count Jones, bless him.
Oh, why not?
Why not? Like all James Cameron, it's mandated that all James Cameron films must be very, very, very blue.
Yeah.
But I've always liked that look, though.
That's all right, though. Yeah, I mean, not all of them are, right? I mean...
Yeah, but even the ones that aren't are. The scenes that goes into nighttime scenes. So, like, the original Terminator, not so much, but I think he was still establishing his style. Like, Terminator 2, all the night stuff is blue as fuck. Titanic, all the stuff on the deck, blue. Right, this, blue. Avatar, so much blue. Like, it's a bit different. It's a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
You know, True Lies has those kind of steely blues as well in its kind of night scenes. I think there's a Adobe Premiere, one of the... built-in LUTs is even called like Cameron Blue or something like that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Fair dues. Yeah, it's a mate. I mean, I think as well. I mean, obviously he's got Adrian. Adrian Biddle did camera opt on the first one, didn't he? I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
So you know, it's really got. It manages to carry over a lot of the look from Alien.
Yeah, it's similar
really
because they're such different things as well. I mean, like it's. Because this has a kind of sweeping camera moves and stuff that you see from Biddle a lot.
That's a great transition. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's kind of almost a 2001 style thing, which I'm sure Cameron's got an eye on. And as I've said before, I'm of the opinion that I think it kind of starts here, in all honesty. But it's similar with The Abyss as well. But I think it starts here and I keep meaning to go into this in detail, but James Cameron is P.T. Barnum, right? And it's about the kind of spectacle, and it's the kind of ringmaster or whatever, and it's about getting people in for the thrill-packed roller coaster ride. And I don't mean that you can use that as to his detriment if you want to. I choose not to. I think it's not so good or a bad thing, but it's just an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I really like the chest burster fake out in this because when it happens to John Hurt, it just is a spot of blood, but on this, the skin stretches out.
And you can see it underneath and everything. Jones. That's what I call Aslan sometimes. We have a Jones here.
It's Data's cat's spot in Star Trek looks like that.
Yeah, he's a bit fat though. But then he has been asleep.
Fat. Yeah, fat. Yeah, hyper sleeping.
Yeah, big fat bollocks.
You're my two dads. Hi, I'm my two dads. I like his future suit collar.
Yeah,
it's quite a subtle little bit of malarkey that though.
Well, yeah, it doesn't go over the top, does it? It's not like Back to the Future with the two ties, or it's things like that. That
I think it's a good extension of Alien. Alien showed us essentially by design a dreary future.
Yeah.
And Alien has the kind of industrial trucker dreary future, whereas this plays into the sort of mediocre corporate slimeball dreary future. So this side of things is all fucking very clean, very whites and greys, and they still have suits, but they're slightly different cut, and and there's something this is more your kind of area, but the cuts of suits evolve very subtly over time. What we in the modern sense consider a suit, if you look at one from the 1920s to now, you can see and things come back.
And it's usually around financial. Like obviously in the 80s they were big and baggy, and that was to do with demonstrating excess and all that kind of thing, and then
demonstrating excess and looking like a twat,
looking like an idiot, looking like a child, and then
fucking Dorito.
It went to very skinny, very sort of like almost like you're wearing your schoolboy uniform, and now it's walked back a bit now. I think
people went to that Italian cut for a while and skinny.
Yeah. You had the Niles Crane look, which was horrible.
It's like double-breasted button-ups. And
but like massive, huge
baggy
pants and stuff.
Yeah, they look like fucking... So Niles Crane had that kind of James Stewart thing, except James Stewart was doing it in the 1940s.
Yeah.
It's almost like a zoot suit.
So yeah, they do. It's true, and I and as well, like when people try and imagine the future, obviously it's tempting for designers and movies to go crazy over the top, but realistically, like when we look at ourselves versus what things were like in the 70s or 80s, like only the things that needed to change. You know what I mean? Like there are some things that just don't need to change. So like a table is still a table. It doesn't fucking need to fly or be made of badges, dicks or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, now it might just have live, laugh, love written on it or some shit. Like the basic bitch table. Hey, hold on a minute. Even that fucking Skype monitor was in widescreen. Yeah. It's like a mini widescreen. So Cameron knew. Yeah. He knew. I've had this debate recently with my buddy Mahiba. We do videography together, and we're talking about clients. There's an increasing market in our field for portrait video, i.e. video shot portrait style, because they put it on these kind of displays flipped to that, and it's just like we are appalled by this entire concept.
So it's interesting watching the theatrical cut of this again, because I'm so used to watching the extended.
Yeah, me too. It's been a while since I watched the theatrical, actually.
But it's quite good, because I mean, like that whole stuff with Newt and her family. Where's that? It's placed around here, isn't it?
It's kind of front loaded into film somewhere. It's plugged in.
Yeah,
and that's got Mac McDonald, who was the captain from Red Dwarf,
and he's in Superman 4.
Oh, is he?
It's one of the cops that.
He's in The Fifth Elephant as well. Well, which one in The Fifth Elephant? What's happening if you must Joe? Some other stuff, yeah, because he's like, because there's the guy who plays Apone who passed away recently, bless him. They were
like one of the 5 American actors who lived here.
Precisely, him and Mac McDonald were kind of expat Americans. Because this was Pinewood or Shepperton.
That's right. I think it was both. I think it was both actually. But I think
someone in the comments.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, the woman in the suit there, I think that's a nice touch. It's just a very subtle bit of like in the future. Because women in suits aren't unheard of, but 1986 is kind of like a kind of boardroom gender equality thing that they've done.
Oh right, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's how I interpret it.
She also has a kind of Rosa Klebb look. She looks like a Bond villain in a way, and acts like one as well, which is kind of good. But this is good. This is a good way to set up Ripley. I mean, this does have like everything you would want from a sequel. In terms of like what do we do with the character.
This transition feels organic as well. It's not. Yeah. They don't have to force it. It's the golden age of people smoking all the time. To me, people will debate this. But this just feels organic. It doesn't feel forced. Like she went to sleep, she woke up. Yeah. And you get the gut punch of the time skip. So this version doesn't have her finding out about her daughter. Yeah. So her daughter. I used this on the Endgame thing, but her daughter's been weeping angels. She's lived to death. That played by her mum, by the way, in that photo. It's his mum.
Okay.
Her mum's British, was British actor.
Oh, nice.
And Amanda Ripley, of course, the player character in the game Alien Isolation.
That's right, which we are going to do a Let's Play on at some point.
I fucking love that game so much.
Yeah, see, I want to play it because I have it, and I've sort of played bits of it, but I couldn't really get going with it. But it'd be good to play with you.
I couldn't initially, and I talked about that loads. And then when I gave it a crap before Christmas, I was obsessed for about 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
dude, I was just. It's one of those things, when you're not playing it, you're thinking about playing it.
Oh really? Okay.
Oh, I was obsessed.
I'll have to give it another go.
Yeah, give it. It'd be good if you could get. Yeah, because when we get on the live stream, it'd be good for you to be up to snuff on it. Not that it matters really. Hollywood's Paul Reiser. That should say file status liar.
Dirty, filthy liar. He's Paul Reiser was in the second season of Stranger Things. Which very much apes this.
They were a bit too on the nose. He was really great in that. They were far too on the nose though. Like when they went down in the thing, it was like Stay Frosty Marines, smoke control burster in the walls. And stuff. It's like okay.
There's even a scene with him sat at a monitor looking at them in the thing, and it looks very much like Burke does in this. Yeah.
I know we're not talking about Stranger Things, but I liked how in the first episode, season 2, I think it's the first episode, they showed very prominently the arcade with the Pac-Man stuff on it, and then they end up in a blue maze being chased around. This is a nice bit of foreshadowing. And then they have the map, like you say, of the underground and stuff. But yeah, and this is 3 years after The Terminator, and I can't remember how many years after Piranha 2: The Spawning. So this is quite early on in Cameron's career, and it's very much, this is very much let's give this sort of slightly green director the big franchise. This is it working. Well,
yeah, So as I understand it, there was what. So he wrote this.
By the way, he loves an enormous fag ash. It's in Terminator 2 as well.
Oh yeah.
Fag, sorry.
He wrote this while waiting for Schwarzenegger, didn't he, or something? But the delay on Terminator meant that he could write this.
Well, whilst they're getting Terminator 2 together.
Yeah, so I think he wrote this and then shot Terminator. No, not Terminator 2, Terminator.
Wait, the Terminator was 1983.
84.
1986. Oh yeah, 84. Sorry, it's 1986.
Yeah. Films take a while.
Yeah,
that's what he said. I saw an interview where he said because
what they gave him Aliens before Terminator.
Terminator before it came out. Yeah.
Seriously, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wrote. Well, he took the job to write it, not to direct it.
Right.
But he wrote it.
So he wrote.
He wrote treatment for this.
First Blood Part 2. He wrote as well. Was it first? Yeah. Or was it Rambo 3? Not Knowing Things podcast.
Yeah, it was part 2, I think.
Part 2.
2.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it was during that he.
Okay, so he was given that gig before this, even before the Terminator.
Before Terminator, yeah.
I've already got the date of the Terminator wrong. I'm going to get proper trouble for that. Because I said 83. I said,
that's
83.
You got me questioning myself now, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw an interview with him. I'm sure he said that. But anyway,
okay.
it was because Schwarzenegger had to finish Conan the Barbarian or Destroyer, whichever one the second one was. And Dino De Laurentiis had him on that, and because Cameron wanted him for Terminator rather than Reese, that meant that he had to wait. I think, and that's when he wrote this, and then eventually ended up directing it because they couldn't. It was around that time when Fox. You know what they did with Alien 3 is they just got a bunch of nubile directors to do treatments.
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
And so he was part of that. And then,
they've announced that they're doing a radio play of Gibson's Alien 3 script, and they've got Michael Biehn doing.
Nice.
Doing Hicks, which is kind of neat.
That's pretty cool.
Kind of good. I mean, this film unfortunately does create the hard acts to follow, and then you've got to do Alien 3 afterwards. Which
I like Alien 3.
Well, so do I. Well, we defended it in
a
a whole episode, which you can find on Val Verde Broadcasting right now.
Pause this, go listen to that, come back, why not?
Buy a T-shirt, give me some money, Patreon, give me some money, PayPal. Come round my house and blow me. Have a shave first. It's only polite.
No, and I mean it. It's interesting to see how this clips on. I actually think pacing wise, it's frustrating. Again, it's the same thing I have with Terminator 2 and the differences between the theatrical cut and the team whatever cut. On the director's cut, but it's the fact that I just think there's a halfway house between the two that I think would be better. Like I like all the extra stuff with the smart guns and all that kind of stuff. I think it helps tell the story as well, but
and also the Amanda Ripley stuff that's deleted from this. I find that it's quite important because it establishes her maternal bond with
you, yeah,
and the theme of there's a theme of reciprocal surrogacy.
Yes,
in a world of kind of forced birth and space rape. There's surrogate reconstituted family, right?
Yeah.
So Newt needs a new mum, Ripley needs a new daughter.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of symbiotic thing, and in the kind of weird way, Bishop's kind of like the dad in their little group, and fucking Hicks is the boyfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of the I suppose granddad. I suppose if you want to be like that with Bishop. So. And I get these themes. You look at it's really interesting to look at this and Terminator 2 side by side because they do so much of the same stuff, and this almost feels like a dry run for Terminator 2. In terms
of very much. Yeah. He's often interested in, talking about parenthood and stuff. Maybe he was becoming a parent around this time or something when he was working. But he's always talking about what it means to be a father, what roles are, what happens when you reverse them. Yeah, and you've even got a queen. You've got an alien queen that's a mother, and
I know that's something that precisely, and it's kind of a warped version of the family and stuff. It's something people like to bring up in criticism of this film, which I don't have an argument against. It's just an interesting criticism in that saying too much about the alien's life cycle demystifies it, makes it less threatening. I would argue also that having legions of them makes it less threatening because they then become cannon fodder.
Yeah.
I don't think it damages the film that much. I'm kind of like the original concept of Alien, that it would kidnap you and turn you into an egg.
Yeah.
That's fucking icky. It's really not nice. And the deleted stuff from Alien with Dallas in the kind of chamber thing. It that's really nasty. It's not nice.
Yeah. I know. Well, it's supposed to be, but I mean, no, I know, I do understand that criticism in it. But the thing is, this isn't going for that, is it? It's
no. Well, this is the war movie in space type thing.
Yeah.
So
that's mirrored, isn't it? But
Yeah, so it's just kind of set extension from Mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Stan Winston special effects in this, in terms of the creature designs and stuff, so the alien's slightly revised. I understand that the reason it's kind of got that kind of Klingon ridged head and stuff is because it's supposed to be, these aliens are supposed to be more mature, so they've kind of calloused up a bit. That's the concept. Okay. Someone said that to me once in comments or something, and it made sense to me. I don't have the kind of backup.
Yeah, although it is a bit sort of like, that's the thing on the thing of the thing in issue 12-5. Yeah, right. You know, you're like, come on, man. Like, I
mean, if it's in some kind of, show me some Stan Winston shit about that, because there's probably the man we know talked a lot about his work, so if that's there, fine. Right. I haven't seen it myself. You know, this film's got all those technical manuals and shit about it, hasn't it? And
yeah.
Also, one of the soldiers are called Spunkmeyer, and I find that funny.
Women are so much nicer to look at than men, aren't they? That's what I take away from this scene. It's the fact that a lady in her underwear is way better to look at than a hairy bastard.
Yeah, it's quite an ensemble here. I mean, this is like, this isn't as strong, because this is the thing, people like to do this. It's something that Paul Anderson always does. He obviously looks at this and he likes the team of soldiers go to a place, but he always does it, in my view, very badly, because they're really, really two-dimensional and just waiting for them to die.
Yeah.
Now, this, it's not the most amazing group of characters. A lot of them are kind of quite empty as characters, you know, there's not time for them to develop. But I think that's kind of the point, because it's that this group's designed to be ebbed down, and you take it down to your really obvious people, such as your Michael Beans and your Jeanette Goldsteins and your Bill Paxtons and stuff. So the other ones are kind of surrounding them. So I think by design, it doesn't give them too much to do.
Well, they sort of mirror the Hive as well, don't they? In terms of, like, there's cannon fodder ones.
Well, they come out of eggs, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they come out of the, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the...
That may be over-reading into it, but I don't think so. I think it's kind of got...
I would 100% believe that is something Cameron had his eye on. I mean, you know...
What the fucking dope?
I mean, this is, like... A lot of the talk in this is super influenced by Starship Troopers as well.
Right.
Let's go on the bug hunt and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole kind of vibe of it as well. It's a kind of very lo-fi version of what's going on in Starship Troopers.
So Jeanette Goldstein is... she's not British, is she? Is she American?
No, she's American. Yeah,
she's American, but she was living here, and she was doing some sort of Olympic weight training or something. Wasn't she? So
is that right?
Yeah, and so she's not... that's right, sorry, she's not... South American. She's white, right? But they make her out.
Oh, they make her out to be Hispanic, yeah. Because when you see her in Terminator 2, yeah, she sells. I believe she sells bespoke underwear now. She's got some kind of
nice
clothing line and shop, I believe. So fair play.
Adorn your perineum.
Go adorn your perineum with Goldstein's gooch straps.
Sorry, that was a very girly laugh. I just did. Homer.
Honestly, the physicality of Lance Henriksen, that little thing where he just spun the knife on his palm. He did this amazing.
This is his chance to play the Terminator, right?
Yeah, because that was. And I still want that alternate universe Terminator film where he's the Terminator, because I think it would be a totally different affair.
Oh yeah.
So you know, don't get me wrong, I love that film as it is, but like to see him. I still don't like to watch that, even though it's blatantly sped up.
Yeah, there's a trouble. He shouldn't have done it in the wide, because you can see like bones like moving really weirdly behind him because it's all sped up.
Everybody stay still. Would you like
knife?
But he's about to bleed.
But that's a great little thing to reveal him to Ripley and.
Yeah, deal with this up front instead of retreading there's a robot reveal.
Well, it's her working her way back to trusting, you know. It's
and she has to, and that's the thing, because she has to find a way to trust him and stuff, and it turns into a genuine friendship, which is the exact same arc of Sarah in Terminator 2.
Yes, indeed, absolutely, very good point. I'd never put that together.
There's so many parallels between the two films, but I never really feel like I'm wasting my time by watching either of them. If that makes sense.
No, not at all.
But yeah, as an evolution of Ian Holm's character, and as you know, the kind of good version works. It's just really good. I kind of spoilers for Blade Runner 2049. It came out over a year ago. Spoilers for Blade Runner 2049. Fingers in your ears, count to 10. They deal with the fact that Gosling's a replicant in the first minute or whatever,
Yeah,
straight away. And it's like, we're not doing that again. We're not. I loved how they just was like, it's not that, and we're going to examine this from a different perspective.
Yeah.
It's not that, and this is kind of doing that. Like, it's not that, and you kind of don't quite trust him because of how awful Ian Holmes' character was. But we learn to sort of.
Yeah, and I like that they don't just. That's not a forgotten about thing. To bring that back, the whole like what Ash was like and stuff, and yeah, but no, that's like you're right, you're so right, and it's a good thing like with Bishop because it puts us in Ripley's shoes in terms of not trusting him because even though he goes well with my inhibitors or whatever that could never happen now and all that sort of stuff, and it's like yeah, but we don't trust him.
Yeah.
But that's the point is we learn to trust him along the way, and then even at the end, the very last virtually the last thing is like it looks like he's just ditched her.
Yeah.
So then it's like it's just a great place to put the audience. It's really smart writing, and even though it's simple, even though these characters, I mean, that's really what Cameron's the master of, sort of like that sort of distilled storytelling and making it still seem.
Well, this I think because I believe in his family, there's some kind of engineering background, and he's very sciencey as well.
Right.
And he's involved in kind of marine biology and
Yeah.
stuff. But I do find his approach quite scientific. Not that, oh, hello everyone, molecules, but I mean scientific in a kind of broader space, in a broader sense, in that I think it's kind of, he knows how to precision time and engineer these things, which is my kind of whole thesis on, again, the Cameron as P.T. Barnum thing and Avatar, and it is not a coincidence whatsoever that he made the two like highest grossing films of all time were him back to back essentially.
Yeah.
Well, no, essentially just was. His two but last two films were the highest grossing films of all time. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah. He's someone who, we all doubt, and then he brings it out, and there it is.
I mean, Avatar gets no truck with me really, but I know and understand why it works and why.
It's interesting. I mean, like bloody 4 Avatar sequels or whatever. It's going to be pretty.
Which are just, where are they, James?
Yeah.
But then we can sit and slag them off all we like, but it'll bring it out and it'll do better than Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if he released it and it flops, he's still got so much in the bank in terms of literally, but also in terms of the films he's made and his contribution and whatever.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, the last 30 years, he's really all the touchstone films, or a lot of them have been his.
This stuff is what's going on here in terms of the construction of this scene. I mean, in terms of its edits and framing and stuff. Yeah, that's all fine. I think this is mainly about set design.
Okay.
I mean, because it's very just the depth of this set. Because this sells you on the fact that they're in some huge hangar and there's a massive spaceship behind them, but it's handled. It doesn't bother itself with giving you these. It's not like Star Trek where you get these long, loving close-ups of all the kit.
Yeah.
It's just, it plays into the industrial thing that it's just matter of fact that they're in this fucking mad space hangar in the future.
Yeah.
And it's all there. If you like, just things like him, Bill Paxton hanging off the chain, and just all the kind of yellows and stuff in the background. The fact the shuttle's there.
Yeah, and it's all out of focus, but it's like it's great. Like you say, it gives it so much depth. And
that was all mids. It was pretty much mids and closes.
Well, it started wide, didn't it? You got a nice sweeping shot.
You establish it, and then you just forget about it.
Yeah. I like that the Sulaco's like a big gun, isn't it?
I believe the Sulaco is based on a Spaz 12 shotgun.
Right, yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. See, I mean, because this is so kind of vast. I mean, look at the size of this set, and there's all this shit. Like, because you see that, the door opening, that's a very subtle key up for the end of the movie.
Yes.
Key up for the end of all this stuff, just, it's Chekhov's power loader. I use that joke all the time. But, if you show a power loader in the first act, it needs to be used in the third. But that thing of the door in the floor of this hangar opening is so subtle because she's just operating it and it moves on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of classic Biddle stuff, isn't it? It's that kind of sweeping move.
Workman-like as well. Like, it's all procedural. Yeah.
Look at that fucking that bit of. I don't know what you call that. It's not really a puppet, is it? It's kind of a.
It's a guy in it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been operated like. Well, also something that is a puppet that has people in it is like the obviously
Queen.
Alien Queen.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I think you can see them at one point if you look through her chest.
It's the fucking curse of the Blu-ray, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
especially
like-
the 4K Blu-ray.
None of us, at least of our age, saw this in the cinema. We watched it on tape, so it was all kind of we never saw that shit. And then there's that moment when high def became available, and it's like, all my favourite stuff's got loads of huge fluffs in it.
Yeah.
Those Ripley's Reeboks have gone back on sale again.
Have they?
As you know, I'm a big trainer fan.
Yeah.
But they're cool. I wouldn't wear them. They don't appeal to me. I'm all about the Nike. Do you know what I've realised? I've got I custom made some Terminator Nike Vandals.
Yeah.
And I've still got them, and I should put them in the background in our show because fucking hell, that's super appropriate.
That's true. Yeah.
I've got one pair that I wear, one pair that I don't.
Nice.
Because they are Nike Vandals, but I had to customise them into the Carley's colour scheme and make the band around the top. But, movie trainers. That's a common motif that's often discussed as feet.
Yes, yeah.
And it's not in a kind of... I don't think it's in a skeezy Tarantino way.
No.
I think it seems to be... I don't know, it just seems a way of building portent because it's not necessarily bare feet, it's very often feet in shoes and feet in boots. And
it's all... Yeah, I mean, it's like they jump out of the carrier later on, don't they? And it's all you see their boots landing in the rain and...
yeah.
It's... I don't know if it's that or if it's part of a sort of tool-up, like, kind of like this as well, like just showing guns being racked and...
The smart gun's a Steadicam arm, isn't it?
Yeah.
To a kind of bit of fucking scaffolding or whatever.
I think that's part of a motorcycle, and it's got like the handlebars and stuff in it.
Also got the throttle.
Yeah, the throttle's the trigger, I think.
I know. I mean, look at all the steam coming off, and obviously, all this kind of lighting and stuff. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing. The Abyss does similar stuff. The Abyss has the kind of cavernous areas.
That's a film I want to revisit. So I have it, and it's a funny one because it's one I feel like I should like more than I do. I respect it a lot, and I do like it, but it's a curiosity.
Feet.
Yeah.
I've never been particularly compelled to rewatch it. It's one I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's got a great heel turn by Bean. But I watched it as a kid, and I really, really liked it. But then I never felt the need, like Cameron's other stuff, I never really felt compelled to own it.
Yeah.
And I think, do you know what as well? I think when he's experimenting with story over. It's hard to explain. Well, no, that makes me sound like a pretentious cunt. That's my fault because I'm failing to word it properly. It's he's constantly experimenting throughout his career on story versus experience. He's trying to sell a story, but also an experience. And I think he kind of precisionally got it right with Avatar. And I think Abyss is an early example of him leaning too much into the experience over the story.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to say that's his first sort of dalliance into that more of it's more of almost like a simulator than it is a fucking movie,
And that was all about look at the liquid effects we can do now.
Yeah, and also
parlayed into Terminator 2.
Yeah, and I mean because they built that tank to do it on. I mean it went way over budget. There's actually quite a good documentary on YouTube about the Abyss, and it's quite an interesting. I mean it was like the production sounds like hell. Most of it do though, to be honest. It's one of those things as an actor I go like, well I want to be in a James Cameron film, but I don't know that I want to go through it. It's
one of these things of like awful suffering creating good art, isn't it? Like
Schwarzenegger's even said he was like a fucking tyrant to him on set and stuff. But,
well, those two.
Yeah, and they're best buds. But he was like, but that's a James Cameron set, and he said to me, I don't tell you how to act if you don't write my fucking script. Like it's just like I was like, whoa. Like, but yeah, I mean, fair enough. He gets results, man. I mean, look at these.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, all this suffering. No, see the shuttle and I believe the APC. Mm-hmm. So in certain model shots, what it is, one side. So let's say that's shuttle 01.
Yeah.
One side's printed with that registry, and the other side's printed with another registry. So they shoot it from the other side, and boom, you've got two shuttles. So they recycle the model somehow later, I believe. That's in the extra.
Oh yeah, because there's the extra dropship, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So when they have the other one, it's the same model, filmed from the other side. That's different registry on it.
That's a really nice little performative moment. She does that with her hand, just stretches her hand out before she grabs the thing, because this is like shit's about to happen. It's like the drop. It's like woo.
Yeah, because this is a good character moment there. It's kind of like, I can't remember the exact number, but Gorman's kind of like, 300 drops, simulated. And they're just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Because it's the classic stereotype sort of commissioned officer, right? And, he's the kind of greenie. They've all been to work, but he's fucking some Yale grad that's gone to officer training or whatever we're seeing. Like, it's that classic military setup.
Yeah, it's that sort of, the unearned, privileged, I suppose, sort of person. This versus the alien arrival on the planet is quite, this is obviously much more rock and roll, much more kind of like.
If you want to take those two scenes as the kind of statement of intent for each film, it's a nice summation, because that's kind of like the steady, measured, freaky prog rock, kind of Roger Dean-esque version. And this is more your sort of fucking AC/DC hair metal. Let's rock!
Well, then as you say that, doesn't Jeanette go like, let's rock!
Let's rock! You know, that's yeah. Alien is loads of songs about fucking hobbits and pixies, and this is songs about your dick.
Love gun.
Have you seen Role Models?
The gun is his dick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly, yeah.
The gun is his dick.
Yeah.
So I think that's some more. You see this stuff? That's kind of luminescent paint on a model.
Oh, is
Because
it?
like, remember in Escape from New York when he pilots the hangar that pilots the hang glider thing through New York, and it's a wireframe model of New York.
Yeah.
But
I haven't watched it in a long time.
It's a fake computer model, so it's a black model painted with green luminescent paint to look like a wireframe.
Wow.
Which was a model and effect created by James Cameron.
Nice.
So
That's very cool.
Yeah, so there you go. Fucking polymath James Cameron. And yeah, so it was cheaper, you know, in that time it was cheaper to make a model New York than it was to have a CGI wireframe.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice.
Whereas now, like, you fucking 12-year-old and look it up on Blender, which is insane.
Yeah.
And I've tried Blender. Blender is hard. Blender's really fucking difficult.
What is it? Just a basic sort of CG?
It's a 3D modelling software, yeah.
Okay.
I tried to learn that, and I just got way out of my fucking pay grade real quick. So I'm just going to stick with After Effects. Thank you very much.
That's so over the top with massive missile things on the side. And like, what those wings don't really look like they would act as wings either. They're sort of like, but it doesn't matter, does it?
It's all made up, isn't it?
That's a great thing to do as well. Have rain on the windshield and have it blown, like, so it looks. That gives you the sense of movement and
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a good detail to focus on.
This is so the things through kind of things on CRT screens. It's something that Alien Isolation really capitalised on because they got loads of stuff, rendered it in 3D and put it on tape and then filmed CRTs and projections and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's that glitchy CRT image.
That now everyone is so desperate to emulate.
Yeah.
As, you know, I've done a similar thing on the intro to our Monday episodes. You know.
That's shot on video, isn't it? Because of the light trails in there. But yeah, it's just a great bit of storytelling. This, and that's it's sort of ominous, isn't it? This sort of abandoned ghost town industrial place. I like that.
And it's a place we've already been. You know, we as the audience have been here before, but now it's changed.
Have we?
Yeah, it's LV426.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, I thought you meant the mining facility.
Oh, the colony itself. No,
yeah.
I mean the planet.
The planet. Yeah.
This is, you know, it's changed now, and the ill-advised colony is here, and it's so obvious. Well, come on, the film's called Aliens, but like. Ripley's so right.
Yeah.
They come in, it's just like, we can't hear. Where is everybody? And it's like,
yeah. That's a great shot as well.
There's the thing taken off in the background. This is the thing. I mean,
it's Terminator-esque, but it's good.
Yes, the kind of the layers of practical effects in this, and it's something that opening battle scene in Terminator 2 does it, where at any given moment, particularly when the endoskeleton stands on the skull and it pans out, you've got an animatronic puppet, you've got models and rear projection, and actual pyrotechnics all going off at once. Like, it must have been insane to.
You've got force perception.
Force perspective and stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's all these things are because now, you know, it's a different thing where there'd be a bunch of green screen, they hand it off to the VFX people, and then they have to create all the magic inside a computer, and they have to build all this stuff up, and they have to think about how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was done on set, and I'm not like saying one or the other is better.
I might as well just say it. I've just realised something. This is recording off the. It's not using this. It's recording off the laptop's mic.
That's fine, and that, Duncan, is why we record from two audio
sources. There we go. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's it. So let's hope the lav mic. Sorry, people.
No, it's fine. We were running backup sound.
I'm getting. I can see it's recorded.
Yeah, getting peaks.
So getting peaks.
We've got the lav mics, man. These are doing just fine, and that is exactly why we double up.
There you go.
Fucking hell, I wouldn't. I tell you what, after the amount of drink I had last night, I'd have had a fit if that was the only way we were recording.
It'll probably just sound really tinny on there.
Yeah, fair.
So Michael Biehn obviously replaced James Remar, wasn't it?
Yes, he was acting up. Now I use this in Risky Quizness when we did it live, but I think the final incident for Remar was that I think he used a live shotgun round and fired a hole in the set, and it went through where they were shooting Little Shop of Horrors next door.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, and he'd been apparently a lot of weed smoking and stuff like that, and he was just being a fucking nuisance. So all these actors they went to boot camp together.
Yeah.
And all their armour they were given to customise themselves to create a bit of texture.
Yeah.
And Michael Biehn then had to be parachuted in. He had to wear James Remar's outfit, which didn't fit him, and had been customised by him. So he was suddenly like this outsider among the group of soldiers, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I don't think it shows in performatively.
No, not at all. Because it's got something like a heart on it. Didn't he? He changed. I think he painted over something that was on it.
He just said Michael Biehn is a cunt. And
yeah.
Like, well, I don't know about that.
I can't remember. I'm sure I saw an interview where he said about that he added something to what was on there, but
Makes
otherwise,
sense.
yeah, it was James. I mean, no one's ever named James Remar as being the original Hicks, but he is, and I think it's in that. There's that when they go into the hive, that wide.
There's some wides of him. Yeah. He's interesting. I think he's kind of sorted himself out about it, but it seems like he was a total fucking menace. Like when they were making this, and
it's funny to think of him like that because now obviously he's older and he was Dexter's dad, wasn't he, and stuff like that.
Oh, was he? Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's been in a few things.
He did like Sex and the City and stuff, and he liked Mortal Kombat Annihilation and whatever.
That's an example. So it's like, don't ever be a prick on anything. Like, look at what an opportunity this was. I mean, sadly, Michael Bihn's career, I always feel like didn't go where. I mean, don't get me wrong, a great career, better career than I have, but. He was
really, he was
an
chronic alcoholic, which is a tragedy. Because he's a great actor. I mean, it's what I like about Michael Biehn though is that he seems to have turned things around. He directed a horror movie starring his wife, and he's sort of having his own thing. And yeah, Duncan and I don't know if we talked about this here when we were at Birmingham Comic Con. We had. Like when we did London, we just had like a general pass, but when we did Birmingham, we had like a gold pass, so we could go to the green room and stuff. And Michael Biehn was in the green room, and me and Duncan were like, "Michael Bihn's there," and Michael Biehn was sat on a chair.
Rich, be cool.
Yeah, right. And we really weren't. Michael Biehn was sat on a chair with his feet on the opposite chair, texting.
Yeah.
And it created this aura of like he doesn't want to be bothered. And
Yeah.
it's like, there's no way us cunts are going to bother. So what Duncan and I did was stood at the craft table, like filling our pockets with sandwiches and biscuits, and then we had our backs were about half a foot from Michael Biehn. Like, I could smell him. But we were too pussy to talk to him.
I think if we'd stayed in there longer, we could have. Michael Rooker was in there as well.
Michael Rooker and Negasonic Teenage Warhead were there. And
That's
Michael Rooker was just constantly holding court and just like being a big laugh and like we totally could have gone and talked to Rooker.
I reckon
but,
so.
Like,
Yeah.
we didn't because it was scary.
I reckon. The thing is, I think if we'd stayed in there, we probably could have eventually struck up conversation.
We could have insinuated ourselves.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But there we are. It's all good. But I mean, I've been around famous actors before and sorts of stuff, and there is something pretty exciting about it, I guess. But yeah, Michael Biehn. There are some big ones, and Michael Bihn's certainly one of them.
Well, that's just too much, isn't it? Because when I worked in a hotel game, I met famous people. I spent the weekend sort of like unofficially minding Oliver Stone when I was duty managing and stuff.
Right.
And that's all fine, but when it's someone like Michael Biehn who's a bit too high in my kind of own internal mythology, it's just like this is a callback.
Yeah.
Alien, essentially.
Well, it uses what we know, right? You've got an audience that's got this knowledge about what all these things mean now. So it's a great way to show them.
I think what I like about this as well, really from every angle, it works as a standalone. I mean, of course, it's enriched by having seen the first one, but if you were to show this to someone who'd never heard of this franchise, it's a film called Aliens. And at the beginning, a woman wakes up from sleep and they tell her she's been asleep for 50 years and she claims to have met an alien. That works as a standalone. They do all that, and what it's nothing. It's not asking too much of you.
Well, and especially the theatrical cut, because we still haven't seen any of it. I actually prefer this in that you don't get the Ripley's dad with the facehugger and seeing all the colonists and all that stuff. It's much more eerie to sort of never meet them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like we still haven't.
When they're kind of shadows instead of actually in there.
Yeah.
I've come back around a lot on director versus theatrical cuts of things. We talked about this when we did Event Horizon, and like Event Horizon is a good example of stuff. The stuff that's gone is redundant, and that's good.
Yeah.
Whereas I really think this and the Terminator 2 extended cuts, they are important stuff that enrich the film, but they work perfectly fine without them.
Terminator 2, I like to say there's a halfway house. I think.
To this day, I just don't know why they cut. Well, it's a time thing, but they never should have cut the chip scene.
Was it to do with like because they were cutting stuff later on where he's learning, like the smiling and all that sort of stuff? That they were like, well, we have
the learning stuff's still in there, but it's different dialogue. He just kind of says, "Oh, I'm a learning computer," and then they don't have any of the "I'm set to read only." That's all gone. So then they can just kind of like, "Oh, here's how to pet a puppy."
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, and I suppose in theory, the thing that's teeing up all the little bits of learning, they can then it gives them the chance to get rid of all that
Yeah.
without impacting anything else. So I guess that's fair enough.
Because there's stuff like him smiling and shit like that.
Yeah, there's him smiling. There's other bits of dialogue as well about like, are you learning yet? Or no, but that's still in it, isn't it? That doesn't make sense actually. When he's like, are we learning yet?
Well, but like I say, he
Like,
does say he
says
says he's a learning computer.
Yeah, true.
So it's not too. But that scene is completely audacious as well. Anyway, that's a different.
That's a different film. We
Anyway.
should do that at some point because I never did that as a
Oh, did you not?
No.
I did it twice.
Yeah.
Well, I think I did it twice.
Give it
I definitely
some
did the
time,
first one twice. Oh, dude, who cares? New channel, who doesn't fuck to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, this scene kind of still works if you haven't seen, because we've seen the face for the first time. You don't really know what it is, and it has that one's alive. So you get a little. It's a bit cheap, but you get the jump scare.
Yeah.
It still kind of works. I think as a standalone. Rip. It's a fanny
with a dick.
It's a fanny with a dick that's a spider or an octopus or a crab.
There's so much as well. Like there's so much gets out. When people talk about low budget films that made loads of money, this never gets brought up because it always seems like a big slick studio picture. But this had no budget, man. What was it? I can't remember what it was. It was very, very low.
Well, that's the thing, because it appears to be like, it appears to be this huge budgeted kind of spectacular. But I mean, even if it was a huge, but whatever it is,
I mean, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, of course, it's a Fox movie, whatever. But it uses every penny. That's the thing, because every penny is on screen in this film. It never feel like you never feel shortchanged by it. There's all these huge, deep sets, all these kind of little bits of texture, like the decorations and the uniforms and that. The fact that they went off to boot camp to learn how to behave like soldiers, is all on. Everything you hear is on the screen.
They ran around Pinewood as well, which I've been around in the gardens and stuff there. I think it was, or was it Shepperton? It might have been Shepperton actually.
18.5 million.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
which is
fuck
kind
all.
of fuck all. I mean, don't get me wrong, adjust for inflation and blah blah blah. But
even if you called it a 30 million. For 30 million these days, you make fucking Bad Mums 5. Like, you don't make this.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it's.
We're in 1986 money, but just going to find. I've looked up the adjusted cost, and it's not on this list, even though it came up as a Google result. 18.5 million. But you see all of it, and that's the thing. Like they aren't, apart from Weaver, who of course is returning. There aren't really any big stars in this. I mean, Paul Reiser's a sitcom star.
Yeah.
Michael Biehn, okay, perhaps a rising actor who'd done the Terminator and stuff. Like it's not as if. And again, Americans that live in England as well.
Yeah,
it's the other thing. Yeah, they saved a lot on plane tickets. Put it that way.
It's yeah. I mean, I guess this was also made at a time when sequels were never considered. They were always just assumed to be a diminishing return. It's like they were never going. And I'm interested. I mean, I don't know if this box office did better than Alien, but that it was still very much the idea. I think that they weren't going to throw as much money at it. It was just which nowadays seems like a complete. You're like, what? Like the opposite is true, but back then it was like,
Well, I can't imagine anyone anticipated that this was going to be this huge action spectacular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in terms of kind of runtime, again, I know it's just a theatrical cut, but like, I just never feel like Cameron movies, for the most part, not never, but for the most part, it's a long film that justifies its runtime. I don't ever feel like my time's being wasted.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem. When you have this long ass film and you just feel your time's being wasted when you're watching it, and it's like this doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be that long. Whereas this uses its time well, and in the vent, off you go.
In the vent horizon.
Oh, the vent horizon.
She just crossed the vent horizon.
I live in a rubbish box. I mean
I don't have any socks.
I don't have any socks.
Would you like a Cox apple? You would think as well that would be a really bad place to hide because she's totally cornered. If the alien got in,
that's what I always think about this. I always think about the image of the alien finding that poor girl is so so horrible.
And it's indelible when it comes up behind her in the in the water and stuff, and it rises up out of the water.
So Carrie Hine, like they auditioned loads of British school kids basically for that. And she is American parents, but she's only little here, and she'd spent most of her life in England. So
weren't they at not Lake and Heath? They were at
Mildenhall.
Mildenhall.
So near us,
Yeah.
we have two American air bases, Lake and Heath and Mildenhall. So they go.
Alconbury as well.
Alconbury, yeah. And she had basically spent most of her life here. She's only little, so she's had a really obvious English accent.
Yeah.
And bless her, she's a kid here. It slips quite a bit. You can tell that. But she's fucking, what is she, like 8 or something?
Like, but the thing is as well, like she's a kid who grew up in space, really lit. So it's kind of like
excellent use of space.
So I mean, you know, she wouldn't necessarily have an American accent. Plus, it's the bloody future. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, but she, bless her, she's a kid, and you know, I think she does well enough on it. It's people have dined out on that so hard.
Oh my God, it was Cartman did it, didn't it?
Yeah.
What happens to her, the medic?
I don't remember. I think because a bunch of them go out when it all goes south. A bunch of them fucking go out.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I mean. Like one such as her, the kind of fringe Marines. It's a bit like, yeah. Okay, man. But then, because I think the Paul Anderson mistake is when you have that big ensemble, is to try too hard to give them all a character trait. So it's kind of like, hello, I am Peter. I wear a large hat.
I'm Peter Penis Hands. Like
I have this fruity accent. Like everybody has a thing, and it's like, don't focus on your core team.
Yeah.
And then we don't care about the other ones getting burned off. That then makes us care about the ones that you leave behind.
Yeah.
Instead of like the kind of Paul Anderson approach seems to be shove them all in a room and just watch them die. You know.
Yeah, Alien vs Predator is very much like that.
Well, that's the thing, and the first Resident Evil. And the thing is with the Resident Evil films, he does it again and again and again. But like, the Alien vs Predator and Resident Evil, and both of those films wish they were aliens. Alien vs Predator, of course, for more obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You dirty wee bitch. she's a chip. I like out down a chimney sweep. Have a banana.
Now TGV will kick my ass for not remembering the model number, but obviously Ripley's Seiko watch in this is a very famous watch, and people still have they go for a lot of money now on eBay. I don't think they make them new anymore, but you can still get hold of them quite easily. But the Ripley Seiko, I'm sorry, TGV. I completely
I've just been opened up to this whole world of watches and movies because I don't really wear a watch. It's just like I had no idea such a thing. Because I've been a little bit like that, not to the same degree TGV does shit, but I like maybe trainers in my kind of bag.
Right, yeah, same deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got a Seiko something or another, and it's very, very popular. Well, it's got a very unique sort of look to it. It's got the big chunky thing on the side, and
But T gave us those Marty McFly Back to the Future Casio watches.
Yeah. So
I use that. That's because I'm not really a watch guy. That's my work watch.
Nice.
When I'm on shoot, so
I take it as well if I'm doing something I don't really want to take a nice watch.
Ideal to get your phone out in front of clients because it looks like you're looking at your texts or whatever.
It's always hard. It's always hard with the watch because it's like that action has become the universal language for I'm bored now.
That's why I put mine on the inside of my wrist.
Right.
Because it's a slightly different. Because you can more subtly go like that and.
Yeah.
But that's fucking good insight into aliens. They'd be like that.
Yeah.
Oh, am I on the inside?
But yeah, shout out to TGV, of course. Hope you're all good, mate.
TGV. Get brush her hair. She's a mess. Like a little tramp. I'm not taking this grubby little kid. She's got lollipops in her hair. Let her die. Leave her for the aliens.
Go now, you fuckhead. I'm not so sure a kid would be so keen to stay there. And I know she's been there and been surviving and stuff like that. But would she be like, good, let's get the fuck out of here?
Yeah.
I would assume, not like, I wish to live here like this forever.
Okay, thanks, bye. Smart kid. And again, young John Connor and New, the kind of kid thrown into a survival situation and, did it out. I mean, it's really quite a lot of copy-paste, but they're doing different things. Lance Henriksen has, bless him, because he is a really tremendous actor. He's done a lot of shite, but hey, Lance is getting paid. I don't care, whatever. He's revisited Bishop so many times.
Does he? Oh, what, on games and stuff?
Alien vs Predator on film as that kind of continuity thing that's
Bishop
been
Wayland.
They do that again in the Alien vs Predator game. Right. So he's kind of like, my name is Jeff Bishop Wayland. I'm in charge of the corporation now. And then spoilers for that game, he dies at the end and another Lance Henriksen replaces him, implying there's a vat full of them or whatever.
Well, much like Alien 3 with its weird. Bishop 2.
Alien 3, I fucking forgot that.
Yeah.
He plays Bishop twice in that.
Yeah.
And Aliens Colonial Marines, the new gang of Marines who come to Hadley's Hope and do the exact same thing, have their own bishop, which is another Lars Henriksen, and he does the voice for that.
See, it all gets a bit confusing because it's kind of like it's like the Terminator being Arnold all the time. It's like, well, are these things built to be like humans? In which case, why do they all look the same? It's like David. I mean, David.
Yeah,
David.
those kind of TED Talks. The TED Talk was better than the film.
Yeah.
And also the ads that Ridley Scott's son did were really good. And it was there's like multiple Davids playing chess and stuff. And
yeah.
Okay. I'm more into the Crichton.
The idea that they all look like Michael Fassbender and one of them's American and one of them's English.
Oh, so
why?
Walter's American, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think I'll take that in that it's 10 years later or whatever the fuck, and I guess because Walter has different kind of programming and stuff, doesn't he?
But my point is, why make a very realistic human-looking android and then have them all look the same? That seems to be counterintuitive.
It's a kind of as a kind of universe building thing. It's kind of like, oh well, it's a product line. But then you kind of scratch at that a bit. It's a bit like, well, I mean, it seems a bit confusing. I mean, I'm kind of into, like, it's a strange thing to invoke a comedy, but like the concept in Red Dwarf with Crichton was that they made human androids and people didn't like them and found them weird, so they deliberately made them look inhuman to avoid that uncanny valley. Yeah. And I really like that conceptually. It's kind of like people were more comfortable when a robot looks like a robot. If his brain works the same way, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, and in that case, he can put a vacuum cleaner on his dick or whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, so it is. I mean, I do think with the Terminator, it's like I don't think it should be Arnold. I mean, we just cannot seem to get away from it. But it's like,
well, who knows?
Why would they all look like that?
Who knows what awesome thing's going to happen in Terminator, the new Terminator Darkest Fate, or whatever.
So this shot coming up, I think it was a foreground model, and it's James Remar's back. I think if we look, I don't know which one's. So that's a model in the foreground, and I think you just about see his face there as he's turning away or something.
James
Rimmer.
You know, this is kind of going back to the sort of Giga-esque stuff that he's not involved in this, is he?
No, he is not.
But he returns for Alien 3 with the anus and the pants.
What I wanted was to make it look like going inside your anus with the penis and the balls. That is very important to me to include the balls.
I wish...
Hashtag don't orphan the balls.
They should have, instead of Newt, they should have found H.R. Giga living in the vent. They mostly come at night.
Like they find him it's like scurrying around like some creature of the night.
It's a middle-aged Swiss surrealist.
Did you do this?
And it's just like, it all looks like this. He's just got loads of paper mache and print stick, and he's just made it all.
And he secreted it, running around like,
the penis. I secreted it from my penis.
Smells like a urinal in there.
You must enter through the anus to find the penis. Vagine.
Have you met my friend Perineum Neeson?
Perineum Neeson.
Perineum Neeson.
My name is Perineum Neeson.
I have a particular set of skills.
Name one.
I have a huge perineum.
So that my gigantic penis does not go into my anus.
My horse-like penis
keeps it away from my anus.
So basically, they come down to Hadley's Hope, and middle-aged Swiss surrealist H.R. Giga runs down a vent to his little room full of empty orange juice cartons and Mars bars, and when he gets there, Perineum Neeson, played by Liam Neeson, is in there with him. They mostly come at night, mostly.
Mostly come at night. Yeah.
Will you be my new mommy?
Aye.
Perineum Neeson.
Here, nestle into my perineum. Suckle at my...
H.R. Giga has been huddling to my perineum for warmth.
Like an emperor penguin. Just...
my perineum gives off a particular set of pheromones which repels the xenomorphs. They look like a painters.
I feel like rubbly go now. It's not anything out of it.
Oh, fuck.
Wasn't it? What did?
It took quite a while to get there this time, didn't it?
What,
Talk about Willy
silly
Bums.
towns. Yeah.
I was wrong. I was wrong about the hungover energy in the room. It was all quite sober until now.
Yeah.
All those people that tuned out and got bored of missing out on this top content.
Yeah,
Top original content.
What was, didn't Seth MacFarlane read the Liam Neeson thing as Kermit the Frog or something on
Right.
Graham Norton?
Okay.
I will find you. And I will kill you. Or whatever it was.
Yay.
Yeah. But has this always been in this aspect ratio? I don't know why I was like
The aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm HR Giger. The penis and the anus.
The thing is, the Muppets was always quite cute and smart, so I could
Yeah.
totally. It's like when they did the Talking Heads thing with Kermit. I could totally, like when Kermit was David Byrne.
Yeah.
I could totally see Kermit as a jockey. That's fucking
Definitely.
great.
Well, it looks like a penis. Yeah, it's not. It's hypersexual. I mean, literally, it looked like a piece of shit.
I mean, the world doesn't have enough Hedgehog Giger. I mean,
That's
all those
good.
interviews are great.
Yeah.
Hicks in his stubby shotgun.
That's it. Yeah. So that this is a bit we glossed over, but I like that they get told to hand in all their weapons and or munitions. Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little plug. It's like what would you? It's like almost like a filter or something. They take out the gun that makes it fire and give it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
They
firing
have to,
pin,
so
I
they
guess,
have
or
to give it to A-Pound.
Yeah.
Because they're going to send everything up. They're fucking idiots as well. I love how belligerent they are about that. And it's like, oh no, we want to blow ourselves up.
Yeah, I know. It's that kind of thing. Well, like, shouldn't we all just get the fuck out of there? And
I mean,
Come back with
the
something.
broad portrayal of them is they're not shown to be bad people, but they are on the whole kind of meatheads. But they're also, they are also the victims of corporate avarice, as in the first two Alien films. Well, I suppose three Alien films, I suppose, like, everyone ultimately is a victim of corporate avarice. Is the thing with the company and blah, blah, blah.
Aren't they this is in Battersea, isn't it? This is in the power
I
station.
believe it's Battersea Power Station,
Yeah.
which they've been turning into flats for about a zillion years.
They have now, yeah. But I believe they had to do a lot of structural work in the floor to be able to take the power loader or whatever it is. Not power loader, the carrot, the
With the APC.
APC, thank you. In like because it's a dressed plane type or whatever it is, isn't it? It's just for towing planes and it's weighed a fucking ton, so they had to reinforce the floor.
I'm sure I heard like the set, the kind of big industrial set for the Abyss with the water tanks. I believe it's still there wherever it is.
Yeah, it's still used, I think.
Yeah.
It's it's not in the desert, but it's in Mexico or somewhere. I wanna say.
Mexico. I thought it was in England.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, we can afford to be wrong about the Abyss.
Having-
We're not talking about
No, and having just actually watched that thing, I should know it, but I don't. That's great. The way that he covers these suits, because when you see them in real life, they're not that intricate.
Yeah, this is the thing you need to be, because like we said, watching the original Alien, there are certain shots that don't necessarily hold up because they're a bit the suit's a bit overexposed, and you need to be kind of subtle. And this is a great twist on what we know about the motion tracker, and this is kind of like, okay, the film's called Aliens, we all know it's going to go south.
Yeah.
It's something that the device of, and I've made jokes about this many times, but the device of pluralising the title of your film is a really nice, subtle way of as a statement of intent. Because actually, if this was announced as a sequel and you just saw a poster with the word aliens on it, and you know Alien, it would be like, wait, what? What the fuck? Like, what does that mean? Like, it inspires all these kind of...
Yeah, so many people must as well have gone like, what, Alien? Like, as in, we've had that. Like,
Yeah.
Then we read it again and we're like, oh, no, Aliens. But yeah.
Predators did it, and I think a few other
Yeah,
things.
it's sort of cynically done now to try and jump on a bandwagon rather.
Well, yeah, they should have just called Dark Fate Terminators, shouldn't they? You could have called Terminator 2 Terminators, really.
I guess so.
That's a great shot. The kind of immolated person falls down.
Yeah. See that with it carrying her up into the rafters, it was obviously just a guy on a wire, like, but they just cut away from it enough to like.
This is a really good. In terms of using space cinematically, they establish a three-dimensional space very clearly. Someone goes down, and then someone immediately goes up, and then someone
Yeah.
immediately goes sideways.
Yeah.
So you covered all planes of movement within that space, across 3 distinct shots that are then broken up.
But it still keeps it. What I like about it is once they've gone into the hive like this, it is covered in close up a lot, so you get disorientated when on purpose. Like,
Yeah,
not in a bad
that's that done well.
Yeah.
Because people love to defend that as kind of like when it's done in shitty films where it's badly covered, it's kind of like, oh no, but it's supposed to confuse. You have to know what you're doing to do that because he throws in wides to keep you grounded.
Oh yeah.
You're anchored somewhere.
Yeah.
There are anchors, but it's mostly done in kind of mids and close-ups and stuff, and lots of smoke. But every now and then, every few shots, you're anchored in the space again.
Yeah.
And this is where parallel action moving between two spaces as well. If you want to, if you want to do that, and the communication between two spaces, two very different spaces.
It's also the film that established that alien scream, isn't it?
You can do it.
I can't really do
You
it.
did it better than me one time.
Well, yeah, it's a sort of.
They
really
use it.
shot.
It's all these video games use it.
Everything uses it now, and I don't actually know that. I know that like the AVP movies used it, but I don't know if the other Alien movies used it. I don't think 3 did, and I don't think
there's much cause for it in 3, is there?
Resurrection didn't either. I don't know.
Yeah, the AVP probably did because Paul Anderson just recycled it. But
Requiem definitely reused it.
yeah,
Way too much.
Well, because this is the thing. I know that Fox gave. Oh shit! Who developed Alien Isolation? It's gone out of my head. Bollocks. Anyway, Creative Assembly.
Oh.
They gave them something like 7 terabytes of data from the Alien franchise in terms of schematics for sets,
Wow.
sound effects, sound recordings, and all that stuff that they could reuse.
Yeah.
And Alien games really, the Alien vs Predator games by Rebellion in particular, really fetishize those sound effects and designs. So it's like for the smile, and like all that's really kind of one-to-one, and I assume they probably perhaps had access to that as well because it's all they have access to Fox, I guess.
Predator's like vision as well. It's like sort of the heartbeat sound and stuff.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that there's a really the Alien universe in wider media is very anchored in a pool of very specific sounds. Like sonically, it has a very specific flavour that you can just pick out if you know. Like the smart gun noise, the pulse rifle noise, the alien squeals, the acid hiss, all that shit. The motion track, of course.
And it's all very clear. I mean, it's funny because whenever you see sound design stuff actually broken down, like we were watching a really good video on the Terminator score last night, and how what those things are, and it's like they're really ridiculous things that have been just manipulated to sound a certain way, but they're and you think, well, God, someone got paid to like do that, but it's like, yeah, but you've got to be that creative and clever to.
Yeah, that person knew how to do that.
Yeah.
So that channel was
shout out.
called Alex Ball.
Alex Ball.
Yeah, so if Alex Ball Terminator 2 scored, he did an Escape from New York one.
Fucking
That's him talking specifically about Brad Fidel's score for Terminator 2, and talks probably about Fidel's stuff.
When you hear what the T1000 theme is and stuff like that, it's ridiculous. It's like a sort of cheesy jazz, like, and then just like slowed down, it's like,
This hugely ominous, really ominous kind of sort of oppressive sound.
It seems like Peter Cullen's Predator. It's like
Good old Peter Cullen.
it's the
Autobots transform and roll out. That's what the Predator says.
yeah. Well, because he was like, I just had this idea that he sounds like a crab or something, and it's like it's just that one sound, but it's like that.
And I had no
is so
idea that
much
was him
fun.
until last year when he did that interview or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, shit, like Peter Cullen vocalised the Predator.
It's like, I can't really do it. So it's like I did it once, but you have to basically relax your tongue in the back of your throat. It's pretty weird. It's really hard to do.
That sounds difficult. So I mean, it's interesting that it's not that interesting, but James Horner does the music here, and Horner's no stranger to science fiction stuff, and the kind of militaristic elements of this are really good because like this is a good example. It's got that kind of driving militaristic, almost kind of marching music.
It's got that kind of clang clang sound.
Yeah, and those kind of clangs because it's it's Cameron not working with Fidel because they collaborated on a bunch of stuff, and it still has those kind of metallic clangs in it. So you wonder how much that's input from Cameron or not because the kind of metallic clanging stuff is something that Fidel does. And these are nice kind of orchestral sort of scores that you can like hum and whatnot, Down, 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 down. That's the one.
It is the Wilhelm scream of
It
Alien.
really is. So Alien vs
I wonder if
Predator
it is the
game.
Wilhelm scream.
No,
It sounds
You've
like
got that in your brain now.
I am. I'm bloody going to go and find out. But yeah, it does sound. It follows the same sort of like. It's kind of got the same.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely the Wilhelm scream of the Alien franchise.
Definitely, but I'd love it if it was just a manipulated Wilhelm scream. That'd be pretty.
That would be quite nice.
dope.
Yeah. I remember I did a horror film. Fucking hell, like my A level piece from the second year. So I wanted it to have kind of a spooky atmosphere, kind of oppressive atmosphere, and I found a sound library where it was sounds of a furnace being stoked,
Okay.
and I took that and slowed it down slowed it down to 25% or something, and then it just became. It's similar to what you just described, but that was done by a proper person. I slowed it down in fucking. I'm not sure if Audacity was around then, which was about 2003 or something.
Right.
So it just become this, and I dialed it down, so it's really low in the mix, but there's this kind of slow, kind of uneven rumble throughout, which isn't too loud, but it just gives the whole thing this kind of icky atmosphere of like something's going on, because it didn't have any dialogue in it. It had sound effects with no dialogue.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do. Everyone was doing dialogue in their films. It's like you're using a fucking mini DV camera built in mine. It's like the best you can hope for is a bit of sort of in-camera foley. Let's just not have our guy talk, and then we can mix in some kind
Yeah, smart.
of wonky sounds.
That's always the bit people, well, the layman certainly anyway, always forgets about sound and how sound is done. And you know what I mean? People think you just point a
So
camera
important.
at someone and that's in all the sounds recorded on the day. It's
So
like,
important. Just like, and people notice straight away if your sound's shit. Like,
well, like we said yesterday on the Event Horizon coverage, it's like a good portion of selling RoboCop is that footstep sound.
yeah, and the hum.
Yeah.
And and all kinds of things like that. I mean, like the Predator as well, the kind of clicks and stuff, and it's just sort of creating a sort of sonic scape, really. And again, there are certain sound effects that become so synonymous with characters and stuff. It's part of their DNA, really.
Well, the Alien has like a sort of weird, not so much in these ones, but in the first one it had that kind of odd sound.
I'm not saying it is hissing, because it does, but it's kind of surrounded by a sort of hissing noise, because it always feels like it's sort of. I know it's not the case because just the way it's framed. The alien in Alien feels like it's kind of pressurized in that it's constantly. I know it's dripping fluid and it looks like steam's coming out of it.
Right.
When it's not, it's coming out from behind it.
Right.
But it looks like it's kind of fit to burst. Like.
Okay. That's interesting.
But that really leads to the techno-organic thing, because it almost looks like a machine quite a lot, because it's got like with its silver teeth and
It's sort of Richter's grin as well, like a point. When there's that great shot of him looking at Jones and turning its head, and it's like got real the way it's framed. The chin's really pointy. The teeth, it looks Richter's.
it's something that it shares with Judge Death.
Right, of course, yeah,
Same thing,
very much,
the pointy chin.
yeah.
Though Death kind of came after, so
Yeah.
I see you, Brian Boland. I see.
Shaking their ass.
I see. My milkshake brings all the boys from the yard, and they're like,
Meow. It's better than.
"Yes."
Like Burke is in his safari, like it's Hadley's Hope Adventure.
Yeah, volcano mission Burke, ice rescue Burke.
They've all got quite just not onomatopoeic. What do you call it? Descriptive names like he's a Burke.
Well,
There's
I think that needs.
Gorman is Gormless. Like,
Yeah.
I Ripley rips things. It's just
Ripley rips things. Dwayne Hicks. Firstly, Dwayne is like a quite hickish sounding name.
Yeah.
His surname is Dwayne.
Well, you get the
Dwayne
impression
Hicks.
as well that like that name was meant for someone like someone who wasn't Michael Bean. You know what I mean? Like was
Right.
more of a hick and was more of a grunt because he's called a grunt as well.
Yeah, so he knows what fucking Remar's whole back was going to be.
Yeah.
In relation to this.
Oh, Hicks!
Look at the pointy-haired little girl.
Hey, Mom! Get off the dang roof!
Some folks will never eat a skunk, but then again, some folks will, like Dwayne Hicks, the slack-jawed yokel.
Where are the hookers?
Brown by.
Oops!
I think so. Cletus the slack-jawed yokel. Perineum Neeson. H.R.
H.R.
Giger.
Giger, yeah.
Yeah, I think our recast of this film is going swimmingly.
Indeed.
Swimmingly.
This is a great Spunkmire.
Spunkmire. The alien used the door.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hiya!
Oh, and it's just the way the blood's already wiping across the windscreen. This shot, as we was talked about a lot, is rear projection with live action, and it's all the components that fly at them as well. You know.
Oh, look at that! That's great.
Good
I mean,
idea.
okay, it's a bit like it's a bit kind of low contrasty, which shot from the way it goes to rear projection. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's amazing bit of just technical wizardry, and you know, having to reset that, like rewind the footage for the projector, and then make it jump over a rock again. I mean, it's just got something that Cameron, you know, I associate with the Cameron kind of look and feel is these kind of huge spectacle set pieces that are layers and combination. Because it's one thing to have a model, and it's one thing to have a puppet, and it's one thing to have rear projection, but to combine them all in layers like that with forced perspective and stuff, I mean, it's incredible, just a technical feat, really.
And it's the thing that, like, what's frustrating about it is you sort of see him now, and it's like he's abandoned all that for obvious reasons. He wants to make the cutting edge film, right? But it's it's a shame that his films have kind of lost a certain.
Well, that's the thing. He's always about being at the and this was the cutting edge, but now the world's moved on to VFX.
Though he hasn't made one for 10 years. So.
Yeah, I think what's been nice to see, and Blade Runner 2049 was a good idea. What happened was, I think whenever there's a new toy, people abandon the old toy, right? It's like when the PlayStation era of games come along, everything had to be 3D, and people abandoned 2D games for ages.
Yeah.
And then people come back around to that, and it's actually loads of really great 2D games. It's, you know, and it's like going back and making films in black and white again all over. James Cameron kind of leans into that. Blade Runner 2049 is a really great example of model work augmented with kind of VFX stuff and CGI. So when you make the two things sing together, that's when it really works. I think if you can kind of wire removal and just putting people in windows of models and stuff like that, you make the two things go together, and suddenly that's where the magic is really. And when it's something that's completely CGI, it's kind of hard to fool the brain. You know, CGI is just getting better. It's just a fact. Like, well, at least better is subjective, but let's say there is more computational power behind this shit now.
Yeah. Well, the fact is you can shoot. I mean, like the Hulk and stuff like that. That's all shot. Like you can see it on the monitors, pretty much rendered in real time.
Yeah. It's not even fucking previs. It's like real time. Well, shit. You know, Adobe After Effects. I can draw an X on my head. Use After Effects to track that X in a 3D space. Set my head on fire, and then erase the X with another piece of tracking. And I did that as an experiment the other day for After Effects, and it took 25 minutes.
Wow.
And that's slow because I'm shit. You know what I mean? Like,
That's amazing.
real people are fucking smashing that stuff together.
That's the thing. I mean, when you see something like Avengers or whatever, and you look at all the fucking effects artists in the credits at the end, and you're like, yeah, that's because literally every shot in that film will have some kind of digital compositing or like shit that's, you know, the sky will be changed, or they'll be putting other things in the backgrounds, and it's just crazy.
I really liked I love how Newt is totally holding it together here, and of course.
Yeah,
famously,
Hudson's
losing it. One of the most famous lines in fucking film history as well.
Yeah.
Game over, man.
Much better, George. But he's sort of the voice of the audience at this point, you know. It's like he's believable. He's not just some fucking wimp either. You're kind of still on board with him, you know what I mean? Even though he's falling apart.
Yeah, because he's just a bit of a dumbass. He's not a bad guy, and he's kind of all bravado and stuff. And he honestly thought the alien thing was bullshit. And he's forced to confront it.
Yeah.
Game over, man. I think I derailed myself at some point or other. There you go. The world, I'm mad.
CGI point, I guess you were.
So yeah, some CGI business. The world is a poorer place without Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
I mean, he directed. He did a fucking heel turn in this. I think it was the first or second season of Agents of Shield.
Okay.
Which I know people have mixed feelings about that show, but he was fucking brilliant. It was such, you know, because that show allows for kind of slightly pantomime-y sort of villain turns, and he was fucking great. He was so good in it.
Well, he was in Edge of Tomorrow, which I...
Yes, he was, basically, and that led into this quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you were in Edge of Tomorrow.
Well, I was.
Let's say you were on Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, I was. My friend Terence Maynard, he's in it. He's the guy who wakes Tom Cruise up every time. He's like, on your feet, Megan!
Okay.
He's that guy. So, I wonder, he's probably got to meet Bill Paxton.
It's great, but I thought putting Paxton in that movie was really great really great kind of throwback to this, and, you know, Paxton's just good at that as well, or was, bless him.
Yeah. Terence was in Rain of Fire as well, quite prominently. He did a lot with...
I've never watched Rain of Fire.
Neither have I, but
he's really awful. No.
I believe it's on either Netflix or...
I should check it out because it looks dumb as shit, and and it's Christian Bale playing second fiddle as well.
Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey, Isabella Scorupco, who's Natalia from Goldeneye.
Really, the only other film she did before she went back to her home planet. I assume.
What's funny, she's in The Exorcist, the beginning or whatever it's called, and it's funny, she just looks different in everything after Goldeneye. It's like her Natalia look just completely went away. But she's a really good actress, so she's really, really good.
Where is she actually Russian?
She, I believe, is, I want to say Polish or something like that.
Oh, so she's Eastern European. She's like American or something. So is this? Well, hold on. But this isn't the Seiko watch. This is the just tracker prop watch.
Yeah,
this
that's the
isn't a
problem.
real thing.
I think it looks like a Casio or something.
So the oh shit! Someone made the Snake Plissken countdown watch,
How did they?
and it's like that's cool, but would you really want to walk around wearing that? I mean, first it looks like an ankle bracelet you put on someone that had fucking got an asthma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool and stuff, but it's like I probably wouldn't walk around wearing it.
I bet you wore that for 10 minutes, then thought better of it and took it off. But that's probably.
Yeah, that's your look. Oh, I just had a text from the clinic, not the clap clinic.
I was going to say, your test come back.
I've got the clap. I know you broke your leg, but you've got the clap. 1 week.
Or another. I'm gonna find you.
I'm gonna get you.
Aliens and shit.
Aliens. That was the fucking. Oh Jesus! So we have to talk about the toy line really that the company did.
Oh yeah.
Because they
bull alien.
Full alien, but also all of the Marines with like robot arm. Like Bishop had like a big robot arm, and they all had like Mountain Volcano Mission backpack, and like cause it was like APO and stuff. Because they were going to do they were going to do an series, and they just didn't. Which is funny because RoboCop got one, Rambo got one. All these horribly inappropriate.
I don't agree with that. To be honest, I do think it's why are you trying to encourage kids to get into these?
Well, this is a much discussed thing, and it's really dumb. And you know what? None of them are particularly well regarded or loved either.
No.
They tended to get like a season and then they're forgotten about, and it's just kind of well, it's having your cake and eating it, because you make these films for adults, but you're just tacitly acknowledging that kids watch it, because we all were watching it.
Yeah.
But the adverts for those toys, I liked how it went aliens at the end.
Did it?
That was its little sting. Yeah, it's like aliens because they were on like UK TV. They had them in the newsagent that's around from my house. Well, no, up in the village actually.
I believe in America, at least at the time this came out, I don't think the rating system was mandatory everywhere. So I do think kids could go and see it as long as they were accompanied by an adult.
Well, then they kind of
thing.
What is it like? I think even up to an R you could go as long as you're with your parents.
Yeah.
I think it's only things like what's this?
It's like X-rated or.
Oh, it's called
or
NC-17. You're not allowed to take a kid into.
Right.
Because they're rough equivalents to our system.
Yeah.
And they introduced 12A, so you can bring. Didn't they change it so aren't you allowed to bring people into 15 accompanied now? Or is that... I know the 12A was invented on that basis, so you could then take somebody.
Yeah. I always thought the 12A was invented for Spider-Man, but I don't think it was it? It was...
No, I think it was, because I think the 12 was invented for Batman, and the 12A was invented for Spider-Man.
That's right.
I've talked about this before, but I studied the BBFC at A-level, and I really wish we had a unit on that in the degree, which we didn't, because it's really, really interesting. You know, the first ever film banned by the BBFC, the British Board of Film Censorship, it was known then, before classification, was a film about microbes in cheese, because they didn't want to cause hysteria relating to cheese. Not a fictional film. An informational film about microbes and cheese.
It's so interesting, isn't it, how our relationship to film has changed over the decades? Because it's like it really was considered more like propaganda or like.
And just the concept that the film had a power to
deprave and corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone I went to school with, Dad, said, he was an MP at the time. And he was a big part of the Video Nasty scandal. I won't name names, but yeah,
you can look it up.
He thought he literally was on TV making a case that it had the ability to deprave and corrupt small children and animals.
Animals love it.
Right, so the Animal Watch The Exorcist did it and went off
and then sicked up a piece of vomit. I do have I can tie that. It sounds like a tangent, but I can tie it back in a loose way. I went to see, the first time I saw Alien projected, I saw it on a 35mm, this was in 2001. But it was a vintage 35mm from the initial run of Alien in the UK, so it was fucked. And I saw The Thing on one of those as well.
Yeah.
But the card at the beginning on that reel was, this film has been rated X by the British Board of Film Censorship. And now it's kind of like signed by the directors, like British film classification. This film.
Yes, it's a certificate, isn't it?
Certificate 15, but then it was like, this film has been rated X.
Yeah.
And so that's before kind of 18 came in. Weirdly, and I thought, I don't know if the rules have changed or someone's going to get in trouble, but when I saw Endgame, there was no BBFC rating code on it.
Right.
I found very peculiar. It doesn't make
Yeah.
a difference particularly, but I found that a very peculiar situation. Yeah. I mean, my big point of interest was the 1999 reforms of the BBFC. I found a very fascinating, interesting topic, and it made a sea change in this country. One of the things being the legalisation, finally, of hardcore pornography on home video.
Hurrah!
Hurrah! But they invented the R18 rating for pornography.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of a number of things that changed the way we, present and receive films in this country. Quite a big one.
They're changing that now, aren't they? We're going to have to prove our age if we want to baff one out to Pornhub.
That's what VPNs are for. They're rich. No one's going to take my porn away. Well, it's not that. It's
that
more
leads
that
us neatly on to our video sponsor. It doesn't at all.
Imagine it was
Yeah.
sponsored by Pornhub.
VPN service.
Oh, VPN. Oh, quite a lot of people are, man.
That's what I mean, yeah.
There's adverts for a NordVPN on TV, and it's kind of like, if you don't want to be hacked whilst you're in Starbucks, it's like, fuck off.
No, you're not. That's what you do.
It's
So
like-
if you want to watch US
If
Netflix,
you want to pirate Game of Thrones and
Yeah.
watch girls being jizzed on,
I do want those.
I want all of those things. But, I will say this much, not mad about Game of Thrones.
No, me either. Although, you know
But
what?
girls being jizzed on.
I may end up giving that another go.
Well, I'm not mad, I just don't care. This come up
Yeah.
in the live stream, and I think it annoyed some people. It's the thing, if you have an opinion about Game of Thrones, it's just not worth it, that's why I don't talk about it.
Anyway, I'm sure aliens before a load of you race
Anyway.
to the comment section to have a go at us for talking about
Let's talk about aliens!
Like, if this wasn't a scene by scene breakdown, fuck off.
Yeah, guess what? This isn't a
Plain and
film
simple,
commentary.
fuck off. I've had enough of that shit. We get that all the time. So, you know what? Fuck off.
We've
If you
been
don't like
doing-
it, go somewhere else and watch another.
I've been doing
fucking
commentaries for 7 years, bruh.
Yeah.
Tell-
Make
tell-
your own dish.
Tell me how to suck eggs, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I might be bad at it, that's neither here nor there. Did
So
you
this is, it's going to be interesting to see this stuff again, because obviously once they set up all the turret guns and stuff like that, I'm so used to that being a part of it now. And all this stuff is oddly, you know what, this part of the film does grind a bit to a halt. I mean, it's great, but it's...
This is the only part where, like I said, I'm not going to go back on what I said earlier. I don't think this film, I don't feel like it's wasting my time, but this is where we take a breather, and the middle act, it kind of, it slows down significantly, and it's kind of the thing of standing around and arguing in a room.
Yeah.
But hey, we've just seen some insane futuristic sci-fi spectacle. Yeah, Bishop. He's a robot. I think Bishop should go. Let's send the robot.
I don't want to go.
Oh, Bishop is Zoidberg.
Yeah.
Why not?
Believe me, I know. I would rather not. This is so claustrophobic, this bit.
Yeah, it is. It's really claustrophobic, and it's again another really fantastic piece of physicality by Henderson, because he becomes when he's away from the humans and he has to achieve it, he becomes the machine here.
That's right.
It's
yeah,
kind of a
good
walk
point.
cycle thing. When you see him move, it's like the sort of more sterilised version of Andy Dufresne in the
Gives
ship.
him the gun, hands it to Ripley.
Yes,
Straight away, like no question. Yeah.
great little, amazing bit of character work done through visual storytelling.
Mind your fingers. I
Yeah,
love that.
fingers.
That's such a great sort of
He's a machine.
Yeah.
He just stares.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very good
Seal
point.
you in, motherfucker. Look at that. Performatively, and his breathing and stuff. Because these
Look,
machines
that's
need to
horrible.
breathe. It seems.
Yeah.
Because there's some kind of it's some,
It's bioorganic.
and that's what links them to the
sort of-
xenomorph. This is bioorganic.
Yeah.
In the first film is blanket bioorganic is bad, whereas this gives it a bit of a better shake. I'm not really interested as Ridley Scott is about exploring androids. I love Fassbender in those movies. I really.
Oh
do.
yeah, I mean, I just don't think like Blade Runner's the place you do that, not fucking.
Yeah,
Alien. Like,
and you
it's
know what?
not
And 2049 was fucking wonderful. Really good. And
See, the annoying thing is now watching this, I'm supposed to be thinking, oh right, so it was all David
do
created all this.
you
shit.
know what? That didn't even cross my mind until you said it.
I know.
That's how
Me
wonderful
either,
that
but there's-
shit is.
Yeah, I know. It's just like I watch this and I go, no, he fucking didn't. Like,
It's so
piss
true
off.
though. It's just like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, don't worry. Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. No. Again, how about this? It comes from the black reaches of space. It's an unknowable, unbeatable force of nature that emerged from the void at an important time in human expansion, and we don't know anything about it. We can't beat it.
Yeah.
You know, not like, oh, well, a robot made it, and he really likes David Lean films and basketball.
A robot who was made it because he got self-aware and then beep. It's no.
What a load of shit.
No, but
And
it's all
also-
about exploring, you know.
Oh, well, you know,
Different
like,
conditions.
the Prometheus is a more advanced ship, or in Aliens, they're just truckers, which know they have more basic retro computers and things. I mean, for some reason, when they're in a big corporate mega base and a military ship, in this film, none of that counts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck off.
I
And
know.
why not just have, like, the big tactile switches and dials and stuff in Prometheus?
I know. Like, you're going to
It's
make
really
a set anyway. I mean, we'll presumably CG a bunch of it, but it's like, yeah, why not? That's a Thompson, isn't it? That the pulse rifle.
Oh, is it? It's Thompson.
Yeah, it's Thompson. You
Okay.
can see the bolt at the top. It's very Thompson.
I didn't know that.
Barrel shotgun.
Yeah, because this is the thing, you know, a lot of the famous Hollywood weapons are real firearms.
And a lot of them were army surplus, so like that's why like a Thompson, there's
That
tons
makes
of them
sense.
lying around. So it's like, yeah.
So the Stallone Lawgiver's a Beretta.
A Beretta.
A Beretta. The urban one's a Glock.
Because they're full auto, aren't they? That's why.
Yeah, so
Because it's the M-
Glock 18s. Full
What's
auto.
the It's the
M93R is the
M93R,
full
that's
auto
it.
Beretta, which
Yeah,
is what
which
the Robocop Auto 9
Yeah.
is adapted.
That's right.
Well, I think it's burst fire. not
Yeah.
full auto. The Glock's full auto. We're such gun boys.
No, it is full. It's you can switch, I think, because it's in Broken Arrow he has one and he uses that on full auto.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
'Cause it's got that crazy.
It's got the little
trigger
thing you
thing.
can hold.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Glock, you have the option for full auto. I know this from video
My
games.
friend had one as a BB gun. It was pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice,
It was like
nice.
it was all gas powered and stuff. That was
I've
really
got
cool.
some battery-powered micro Uzis. I got from Mallorca and brought back in my suitcase. My fucking mate.
How the fuck did you do that?
Dude, like my mate bought a fucking what was it, G36, the huge German assault rifle,
Yeah.
and it had a clip with like realistic bullets. Me and him, and I had my twin Uzis, and we were just like, we bought them, and it was like, fuck it, we'll just put them in a suitcase, see what happens. Flew home, no worries. 2007, I think. So it was after 9/11,
Yeah,
actually.
wow.
Yeah, put a fucking
It's in the
gun.
hold though, I guess, but like,
Yeah, hold luggage, but
but still.
well, man, it's when I've had to fly to videography jobs, and it's like I've got screwdrivers and a craft knife and like huge piles of metal and stuff.
Mm.
It's just like, I mean, I know that sort of shit goes in the hold, but it's just like,
Do they not scan hold luggage then?
well, they do, but I think they just must look at it and go like, yeah, I guess you can't get, because I can't get to it in the plane. I suppose that's the,
I guess so, but
the thing. But it's like, yeah, I mean,
So it's fine for it to bring fucking firearms into the country.
I wonder if they, because they still show up, even though they're plastic, they still show up on
Yeah.
the X-ray, like the way my willy showed up on my X-ray for my leg. It's the same, the kind of ghost willy.
Yeah, I had that when I had my back X-ray. I had to do a standing up one, and they did all that, and it was like my belt buckle on my dick,
I went into
hanging by my knee,
I went into WhatsApp because I was showing it to one of my mates, and I got the cherries and the aubergine emojis and put it over my ding dong.
No. So we're talking about our penises whilst aliens is going.
Always.
So that's the same one, but shot from
Shot different angle, yeah. So it's
Okay.
got the different livery on it,
Right.
basically. So I think it's a very subtle thing. You barely notice it, but I think it's got a different model number, a different kind of tag. The other one had like a red kind of ident on it, and that one's kind of.
Well, they made there's in the long feature length documentary on this on the DVD. There's the guy who makes hay about the fact that they did that eagle with boots, like a bug stomper eagle, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they talk about bug hunt and stuff like that. And it's weird how they do that when we're not supposed to know about aliens, right?
Well, this is the thing. The
It
question I've
implies there
had.
are other types of aliens. that
Yes, precisely. There's a kind of weird lingering thing that there are some kind of benign alien creatures around that, they have to go and exterminate from time to time. And then are they just super shocked by these ones because they're so in such, so formidable? Or
Well, don't forget though that he does say bug hunt. It doesn't actually say they found any.
yeah.
So it could be that's why they're so complacent. Is that like yeah, we always get sent out on these stupid hunts and we never find any. Which actually, do you know what that implies? That where the Newtani are trying to find these.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
well, they were
well,
after
so it's
them,
like
for instance,
they're-
at least 50
they're
years prior.
fruitless
right?
hunts that they keep getting sent on and they don't buy any of it.
There's also the idea that it could be that they're just being sarcastic because, they all know that they all scoff at the idea that Ripley saw an alien.
Yeah,
Right, so they say, well, we're on a bug hunt, ha ha.
which there's another bug hunt though, doesn't he? So that implies they've been on a few.
Maybe there's a planet with just massive cockroaches.
Yeah.
They just go and smash up.
La cucaracha.
Cucaracha.
26. La cucaracha 26. LC 2OV. Well, yeah, and it's fucking. What's his name? This is annoying. Your man from Men in Black.
Tommy Lee Jones?
No, the cockroach guy.
Oh!
Edgar, but.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio, thank you.
Edgar, your skin is hanging after your mouth.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Welcome to LC Crash. Don't do that.
Sugar.
In water.
Water.
More.
You were here.
He's so good in that.
Fact of the second, you are the boom model. I put my hands on my hair. Like that.
That's a really horrible.
That's a performance. That's so like. Do you know what?
He's an amazing
fucking.
actor.
Oh yeah,
He's an
he
amazing
is.
actor.
But
He's one of my favourite
but
actors.
that's a performance where until an audience saw it, I bet you everyone was going, "Fuck, mate, that's too much, man. That's way too much." You know what I mean? Walking around the street, all those jerky movements, and they could so easily be
It's
bad.
so horrible. And you know what? But it works in tandem with the stage makeup.
Yeah.
Decays, because it really feels like a pile of bugs inside a set.
Yeah, yeah.
We should. I would really like to talk about Barry Sonnenfeld and particularly that film.
Okay, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm a huge champion of that film.
I think it's great.
I'm not mad about the second one. I really like the first and third one.
Yeah, same.
I really want to see the new one, even though it's definitely going to be rubbish. I mean, there's no Barry Sonnenfeld shit, and it's just like. But Chris Hemsworth is a very funny guy.
I very nearly was going to be part of one of the ad campaigns for that.
So
Never
just
mind.
buy a suit. And,
Not bitter about it.
Let's make our own Men in Black fan film.
And it was going to be directed by Dan Kleinman, who does all the Bond titles. I was like, I'm going to get to work with him. No. But there you go. That such is the life of an actor. Actor.
I feel that they sell the facehuggers really well in this because the facehugger has more to do. Because you give one facehugger, it doesn't really move around much. It goes on Kane's face and then it's dead.
Well, once it loses its advantage of jumping out of the egg, you know, once it's that's its sort of main play, isn't it? And then once it's on its own, it's this little spider thing that runs.
They sell it really like this stuff is really good. Like the way it's trying to and it's on it, and we know how this works.
Yeah.
So this could not go. Oh, it's reaching for it.
Yeah.
It's a rod puppet. It's a kind of rod operated puppet. So that, I guess that's a Stan Winston thing, and they sell it really well. It has weight. The way it moves around on the floor, it doesn't kind of look like it's being dragged around. It really looks like it's moving on its fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really tremendous piece of puppet work. And it, you know, the fact that the kind of sprinklers go off.
Yeah.
Like it's wet and it's slick.
That's I was going to say.
Kind of...
That's a horrible day at work. That is. Spend all day absolutely soaking, and they said as well, didn't they, about that because there's a lot of reversed footage used for when it's jumping at her and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, but there's rain,
going
you
up.
idiots, the rain's going up, and it's like no one's going to know it.
It's amazing. I do find it's amazing what you get away with in terms of reverse motion stuff if you're clever. You can do all kinds of shit. Like I've done it for pro jobs as well, and it's just you hide it, no one knows.
Yeah,
it's great. I do that. I often do that with when I do a rack focus.
Okay.
Start on for a logo, for example. Because I use manual. I just have to let manual lenses.
Mm-hmm.
Start on the focus shot. Unfocus it.
Right.
Reverse it in post.
Yeah.
So I use that pull focus thing for product shots. People love that. It's just to get them. Though if I want to do it the right way around, I can. I'm quite skilled. I like to think.
I'm not.
Oh, you did good work.
Yeah,
I was very happy with the stuff you did for me.
Very
You sort of fucking paid me for it, but
I'm all right in a pinch, I suppose. When you've broken your leg and you need a.
when you're a broken boy.
When you've broken your leg and you're going to
downtown.
I couldn't think of a witty replacement.
Penis.
Fine.
Just say penis.
I'm still here.
I can't remember what my HR Giga impression is. I just do some weird sort of campy German Austrian. Speaking of excellent Austrian studies of Austrian accents, Hugo Weaving is the Red Skull, I think.
Yeah,
probably
great. And then Ross Marquand's copying that.
Fraulein. He's good, but he's no Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, I know, but
then he's not. He's already starting from a.
That's a tough spot for him. He's basically been brought in to imitate someone.
And he's a fantastic actor and a fantastic impressionist.
He's really good. Yeah, Marquand's really good. Those micro impressions of it, he does it really great.
Yeah.
Nice use of colour here. Obviously, red means danger. It's a bit basic, but everybody understands that. It's just a nice bit of shorthand.
Sort of submarine-esque as well, isn't it?
Yeah, submarine, industrial, and it gives that kind of. It kind of flattens out the colour scheme.
Hell as well, are we saying?
Yeah, I would think so. And in the colony, you'll constantly feel that you're in the bowels of something.
Yeah.
This is and Aliens did the same thing.
Nostromo, sorry. Nostromo sounds like fucking some sort of Italian sausage.
Or some shit.
Would you like some Nostromo in the motore?
Give it to me downtown.
Mono.
So this is the famous "they're in the walls."
Yeah.
It's great though when Hudson, it is Hudson, isn't it, that goes up through the vent?
It's Hicks, I think.
Oh, is it Hicks?
67.
And it's just like, again.
Yeah.
And the fact they're upside down as well is really cool.
Yeah.
It really sells that.
Which is a flipped shot, isn't it?
And it's just, this film's really great at just making you feel that everything, apart from that bit where it kind of lulls, the feeling that you're constantly fucked. And it's also, it's about what you don't see. And that lends to the kind of submarine combat in fiction. Is kind of like, you see people looking at displays and through periscopes, you don't, good thing, like the classic Star Trek episode, the balance of terror, which I've discussed before. But you don't actually see what's going on because you see them watching the counters for the guns.
Right.
And you know that somewhere tons of aliens are getting shredded up, but we're not seeing it, and it doesn't feel like a cop out because we've been given that alien.
Yeah, we know what's going on. Yeah. I mean, I dare say if Cameron had the budget and everything, he would have still shown aliens getting shredded. And I think you do. It cuts to.
Yeah, there's kind of
cutaways
shots
it,
and stuff,
but
it's not like this intense battle thing.
No.
And I prefer it like this, where it's like the submarine combat thing, where you're just sort of like sending these things off and hoping they work, and then the tension here is just like they're on top of us. It doesn't make sense. We've run out of bullets. Like, what's going on?
I quite like this as well, like because now they've taken. I do like the turret stuff, but actually without it, the pace just clips along a bit better here. I think.
Yeah, this is the thing, and this is why I'm coming back. I really love all that extended material, but I'm coming back round on theatrical cuts recently, and I've become increasingly tough on films being too long, as I said.
I think they work in the context of you're already really familiar with the film, so they're additional stuff. It's like, oh wow, this makes me look at it in a different way. But actually, does it make it better? Not really.
Cameron extended cuts being an event, like when they put Terminator on TV and stuff. As a kid, it's more of the thing you love. There's extra to the film you love, and then as an adult, it's like, well, was I just into that because I was a child?
Well, it's like the Superman. There's a mega 4-hour cut of Superman the movie, which is like. It was meant for TV, where they just put everything back in it.
I would like to be the first to say, fuck that.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, you know what, and it's like, people go nuts over finding copies of it and stuff, and it's like, yeah, but it's not all that, and that, a lot of the stuff that was cut from that. Again, these making a film, it involves an awful lot of experimentals. Like, you don't know something's going to work until you've shot it and you're cutting it together. And then you go, no, we've got to lose that.
Dawn of the Dead's famous for having many, many cuts. I have a DVD box set that has 3 cuts in it, and there's a Dario Argento version. Yeah. Similarly, there's a Japanese TV version, which is very long. And one of the discs is the extended cut. It's just too much. It goes on for like 2.5 hours, and the pace is all over the place. And it's a really well-paced film. Like, Romero was known for making like really high levels of cuts. He cuts a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you know, his edits within a completed piece. And the US theatrical cut is his favourite cut, and it is the best version of that film.
Right.
It's the best paced. Whereas like the extended cut just goes on too long. Dario Argento's one's a bit wonky, but it's fun. But yeah, I always heard tell of a Japanese version that's like 9 hours long. It's got like an extended dance number. It doesn't happen. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh, Hudson, there he goes. It's interesting because they showed Ripley. Obviously, they're firing a gun for kind of the first time, and it was like, yeah, that was quite.
Well, that's the thing, because it's not something she does in Alien at all.
No,
and she is this kind of trucker. This is the kind of you could argue this is where her kind of maternal instinct goes into overdrive because she's already protecting you, but this is like, this is the enactment of the phrase "fuck it." It's just like, right, and she fucking goes in hard.
It's like action aliens there, like diving over desks and stuff.
Stunt aliens, Stalions. It's got the reds and blues in this are very nice. It's a kind of look that has now been, the red and blue in this has obvious light sources, but you kind of Nicholas Winding Refn look, or John Wick, really lean into that. Because there's this kind of idea that all films look like this all the time in the 80s, which is not true, but it's something that's widely used as kind of shorthand. Which I've done it for some still shoots and stuff.
Don't shake your work back.
Don't shake your work back.
And the aliens
You shake your wig for the last time, Vic.
That's what me and Duncan Rule used to do that all the time. Because my ex used to work with his wife, and they had a guy called Vinny who was like their Scouse boss, and it'd be I'm a click, don't shake your wig, you bear. Wig.
Drive me mate to work.
Drive me mate to work, don't shake your bear. Also, I don't know, it's like I mean, probably explain this to Americans. This is what I meant to say earlier. If Americans don't know, in this country, Burke is an insult.
Yeah.
And Burke is quite funny because Burke has fallen into being quite a mild insult, like that person's a Burke.
Yeah.
But Burke is actually rhyming slang for cunt. It comes from Berkshire Hunt. Berkshire Hunt, cunt. So when the revelation,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. It's actually an incredibly high level insult dressed up because Burke is something like your teacher would say, like
You're an idiot.
Burke,
You're an
idiot.
idiot.
But you're actually calling someone a cunt. And I remember my very good friend Nick Skews came to me, excited. His eyes lit up when we were teenagers because his dad had told him that, and he was like, "Burke means cunt, Burke means cunt. We need to call him on Burks all the time." It's like,
right.
Sure, we've got this new weapon. We can call him on a Burke.
And then Mates, the Carter Burke character, again falls into that kind of. It makes more sense now that he's called Burke rather than he's just an idiot.
Yeah, well, I wonder, Cameron being Canadian, I wonder how that travels and if that works. But this is kind of shot in England, so I don't know. I really hope that's the Burke.
Yeah. Newt is obviously diminutive and small and tadpole, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Vulnerable
I don't know what Vasquez means in.
It means gun, shoot your face.
It
bomb.
means let's rock.
I don't want to think about what Spunkmeyer has going on.
I love that. Puts it under a boot and fucking.
Yeah.
I like why she does. Oh, she does get covered in acid. That was sped up footage.
This is great. These guys get a fucking cool death.
I love the way it dies, kind of like a spider in a way, like it sort of like it keeps moving and.
There's a nice. I like how her and Gorman have a bit of reconciliation.
Yeah.
There's been no mutual respect, and they don't care for him, and he essentially goes back for it and it ends up costing him his life. Like, you know, he is a good man, and he does want to be a good leader, and it's a nice little redemptive moment.
It's redemptive for him, and exactly. And that is so important in films, and the amount of films that fuck that up now. Like again, well, not to use BVS as the whipping boy, but hey, I'm going to do it. There's really isn't, there's so much opportunity for that. There's so much setup for the need for reconciliation.
I think the thing is with BVS, because it comes up all the time and people get annoyed if you talk about it. Or not you, but me. And the thing is, it's unfortunately it's a monolithic case study of bad storytelling in modern cinema, and everybody saw it, and it's a good shorthand. I mean, my go-to for the criticism of this film is Paul Anderson's Alien and Resident Evil film, because they specifically try to ape this and just don't do it properly. They show how, it shows how close you are to making a bad film at any given time. If any of this was slightly out of tune, then suddenly it just doesn't work. Yeah. And understanding it on a superficial level isn't good enough. I mean, Event Horizon, which we watched yesterday, that comes very close to getting the kind of the mood of Alien, and it carries over a lot of personnel, and it's got a veteran producer in Gordon, and it's got Adrian Biddle and all this stuff going on in it, and it's it has a lot of cachet there. Whereas later in his career, I guess those people aren't around him, and he's trying to do this kind of shit, and it just doesn't work. People love to people hold that over me as something I always talk about. But this is a very relevant example because I think it's a perfect case study of how to not do this correctly. Yeah. Trying to ape that, it's kind of the fucking. It's like the Chinese knockoff of this, What I mean?
Yeah, there's always something lost in translation, and I do think it's one thing to homage something, but which is what I think Event Horizon just about does. It just about gets away with it. But this is this doesn't work. If you do these things out of context, they don't work. It's just like, again, BVS, like just dressing him up and to look like the Dark Knight Returns, it does not mean it adds any.
Yeah, giving him a machine gun in that scene, like in the Dark Knight Returns, giving him a sniper rifle in the scene, like in the Dark Knight Returns. And How you doing, Ripley? I'm doing great.
Hey!
Yeah, but now's not the time.
Yeah.
H.R. Geiger, are you okay?
I'm doing great. I've got my little weird doll head, I'm going to fuck it.
I'm going to find some clay and make a penis.
By the time they cut through, there's just all these dicks down there. Where did these come from?
I bet, if the aliens corner him, they'd be like, you know what? Maybe
Yeah, that's how he survived. He surrounded himself with
just too creepy.
with like
There's
models of cocks made from
cocks
smegma.
and clits and bum holes like everywhere, and the aliens are just like, dude, we've slaughtered everyone. Do you want to make a baby with that?
That shot.
Pain.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's nice backlighting there, and that's the light reflects off the water because there's about fucking 900 points of light in that shot.
Well, yeah, and also the fact that the aliens are so ridgy and textured. It's
Yeah.
like that's really and it once you backlight them, they look
It gives it all that kind of space to play.
Yeah.
Painers. I just look, there's Ripley losing her shit and chasing off like this fat man.
You know that I don't understand it because I don't get football, but you know these people who constantly they'll comp like footballers' heads onto people's bodies really crudely for like little videos on Facebook and stuff.
Oh yeah, sure.
It
I've seen
means-
that done with politicians sometimes. When they
Yeah,
kind of
the
face track
Theresa
the
May
thing.
on various
It's like Theresa May breakdancing.
Yeah. I wonder if we should do that with H.R. Giger and
Well, like I said, I've been learning motion tracking and After Effects, so
There you
it's
go.
totally a goer. That's why I wish I had time. I'd love to get some. I'd love to have some animations on our channel of like
yeah,
little excerpted bits we could animate. Would be great, but I'm learning all that. But
like Ricky Gervais did for his podcast.
I loved how they, I'm not the biggest fan of Gervais, but like they the way they copied the kind of Hanna-Barbera style for those was really good. It's really nice, kind of retro American animation style.
Why is I always find it weird that like Hicks is that badly hurt that he's. This is very Terminator-like as well, isn't it? Like
On your feet, soldier.
Yeah.
On your feet, soldier. On your feet, Pines.
On your penis, soldier. On your penis.
I came across time for you, Sarah.
No, he is Sarah. Right?
No,
That is a joke.
dude, no, we're just going nuts now.
Yeah, okay, right.
Everyone's getting it.
Yeah.
I need your claws, your boots, and your
Your
penis.
His Terminator comes back and he doesn't have a dick, so he's to get a dick from somewhere.
And again, it's sort of just this fat, balding Swiss guy in wig.
It's really out of focus, that shot. It's really not the best. Yeah.
Oh, penis.
The funny thing is as well is that like all that Terminator stuff, like he's walking around with a knob hanging out. Like it's a bit...
Just to get the idea of him like naked in a truck stop.
with a thatch
A thatch.
of Germanic pubic hair. All that lightning stuff's very T2.
Oh god, yeah, that kind of rotoscope lightning effect, absolutely. Yeah.
I thought she just sellotapes two guns together.
I love that. Yeah, just gaffer the guns together. Let's have it.
Guns don't look like guns on film. You gotta gaffer tape two guns together, flamethrower together.
A gun and a flamethrower makes a fire hose, but a fire hose and a banana makes a shotgun.
Yeah. Fire hose and a banana. No.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this model stuff, the sheer sense of scale. I love the kind of. This is really great. Well, spoilers for realization, but one of the final sections you have to go and kind of overload the reactor core,
Okay, yeah.
and it's this giant kind of almost cathedral-like infernal thing in the bowels of the ship. It's kind of just suspended in blackness from the top.
Wow.
And the androids are wearing kind of hazmat suits. They look sort of like monks, and they're just sort of patrolling it. It's this
Wow.
great kind of, and it just because I mean this, in a kind of it's not exactly gothic, but this kind of reactor thing feels like an infernal space or kind of cathedral-ish, or it's got that.
There's Into the Heart of Darkness again, sort of here, isn't there? That she's kind of got to go in. She knows she's got that journey. She's got to come out again. She's and yeah. We've all in small ways. It's like when you can't remember if you lock the back door. You have to go downstairs.
Need to gas on.
Yeah, you get the heart of darkness. It's a journey you don't want to make, and you know that when you're coming back up the stairs, you're going to run a little bit faster.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
But yeah.
The golden penis.
Like the golden compass. But
I was thinking of the golden fleece, but it's all good.
it's all good.
The golden hind, the golden compass, the golden penis.
The man who went up a hill and came down a pine.
Starring Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Paraliam Neeson.
Paradium Neeson. I've got a particular set of gooches.
Yeah. I wonder if people are still listening. Probably not.
Probably not, mate.
Yeah.
Well, this is your tool up scene. Like, and this stuff, like the sheer motion in this. I mean, Could that be some kind of? I assume she's not actually in the lift. That's probably some kind of projection.
I think it is a real projection, yeah, and then just the
sort of
shaky
shaky
handheld,
camera.
yeah.
I mean, look at it though. There's the layers and depth, and it just
And performatively though as well. Like, don't forget, she's like, she's really purposeful and knows what you know what I mean. Like, she's really done this. That's such a studied sort of
absolutely
prepping herself.
You can see the kind of single-mindedness in her face as well, and the whole kind of not this shit again for her.
Yeah,
it's a great little moment. Her in the lift. It's a really lovely bit of performative storytelling because as a performance as acting, it's all in her face. It's kind of like tips her head back and exhales and stuff.
It comes back to the thing I talk about. You know, I mean, it is important to talk about strong females and all that sort of stuff. But it's not what the film's not saying like females are strong. They are, but it's not saying that. It's just saying this is a character. She's relatable. Look at what she's going through. It's a universal character as far as I'm concerned. Like I watch that and I don't go, well, I'm not a woman, so I can't understand what she's going through. I watch that and I go, I fucking get exactly what she's going. You know what I mean? And it's wonderfully portrayed, and she is fucking amazing. Didn't she get nominated for an Oscar for this or something? Or am I making that up?
That's one thing
I'm
really bad at that. I don't know who got nominated for what and when.
I can't remember if that or that it was scandalously something people complained that she didn't or something, or that she should have been.
Okay.
I thought
that's the thing, yeah.
And it is a performance that you kind of gloss over in this film, but actually, like,
this kind of
she has to go through so much.
That was first person.
Yeah.
Perspective stuff. I don't remember that. It's quite interesting. It's not something that's done apart from in the excellent Doom film.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I honestly think like this is. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's obviously got a lot of praise, and I love that as well. I didn't notice that before, where there's like a red hot
kind of
thing because it's all starting to break down and overheat, isn't it?
Well, this is essentially it's very very similar to the climax of Alien, but it's kind of upped in its scale and its stakes, which is total sequel time.
Yeah,
it's bigger and it's riskier and all the rest of it. There's more going on. She doesn't just have to save herself, just to save the kid.
Well, that's where it's very clever as well, because obviously Cameron's brief would probably be like, you need to hit beats from the first film and just amp them up and make it the same thing. And it's like, well, he does, but in a very clever way. It's sort of like it's the whole like, you know, look at my hand, like well, he's essentially making the same film again, which is very smart.
And you know, just Ellen Ripley, this poor fucking woman.
By the time she kills herself in Alien 3, like she has literally known nothing else since she first encountered the aliens. She went to sleep, woke up, had to deal with these fucking aliens, went back to sleep, woke up, they're all dead. All the people you've worked hard to protect are dead.
Her arc is fucking suicide.
Mate.
Like, you know, like it really is. I mean, that's what's kind of, and I'm all about the work print cut for Alien 3, and I will defend it now. I didn't used to. It's.
Yeah, that's one I go the other way on.
Insanely nihilistic.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously nice. It's so nice. It's so grim.
Well, that's the thing for that film, is the sort of horror almost comes across in the kind of the depressing, like hopeless.
Yeah, it's existential.
But yeah, definitely.
It's this kind of like existential situation with that, where this is kind of the action thing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We talked about it, but Alien 3, it starts off by robbing you, and it's all downhill from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the only problem. Is it doesn't bury the lead, if you like. It certainly bums you right out.
And I do hate that. I would rather that these guys at least be all right. You know what I mean? But like, what we have is, I think, actually more remarkable film than people give it credit for.
I mean, you know, actors' availability aside, obviously, like getting Newt back would have been difficult because she wouldn't look like that anymore. But you know, even taking that into account, I know what you mean. It's just a hard thing to start when your story is what it is.
Just a gut punch.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, especially as it sort of. I mean, I don't believe it robs this of any.
No. Yeah, look, this still exists. I think that there, you know, so it's possible for things to kind of be retroactively spoiled a bit, I guess, but it doesn't take away from this, you know, as an experience and as a film. It's very frustrating to watch, though. It's just such a punch in the dick. It's just like. Okay, and also Michael Biehn wouldn't yet let's use his image. So his face has been smashed. Yeah. He has a pile of teeth.
Yeah. But it's alright, because dental record.
It'd be great if, like, in Alien 3, it was James Remar's corpse.
Yeah. Or it was Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Nice.
So it's just like a replacement for any time an actor can't. Katie Holmes is Higgs.
That'd be such a and again, H.R. Giger.
Yeah,
Perineum
as Batman or something. Yeah. See, look at the hand on his shoulder. It's such a dummy hand. That's a puppet's fucking hand. She's holding a puppet.
The go-to thing is
look at the hand.
Oh god, just
that's really bad.
A little claw.
Yeah, it's really badly painted. Like It's like Hanson from Scary Movie 2, like, come on, strong hand. That's a great shot.
I like
the two in profile.
Basically silent as well. No musical cues.
Yeah. But isn't that a thing that you show your characters in profile when they're hiding something or when they are? It's revealing.
Yeah,
something.
and it's often sometimes to show duplicitous intent as well and things like that. I mean,
that's an iconic looking shot. That just the two of them looking at.
This is such a great oh fuck moment as well.
Yeah.
I think don't they speculate on there being a queen earlier in the film, do they? Or
Something about a hive, like that. I think there's they say something about there being they must have like a hive or something. Or who's laying the eggs, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So this is, I like how the kind of head hides in this sort of snood.
What is all that stuff? Like it implies it's got those are like its legs, but
it breaks away. I think it's sort of
away.
like to put itself in situ for nesting.
It suspends itself in this horrible.
Because it pulls off its egg sac as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Which is what dear old Winston's having done to him right now. Oh, poor little chap. He's having
Winston's off having his knackers removed.
Yeah. He's got rid of his knackers.
Oh no, Daddy, you cut me fucking knackers off.
No more knackers.
I was going to use them for shagging and that. Oh no.
No more knackers. It sounds like a
No
product.
more knackers. Oh
No.
God, like a spray.
Yeah.
No more knackers.
No more knackers.
Hello, I'm Deck. Here's no more knackers.
You can see all the workings in it.
So you got two guys, because there's 4 arms, so you got 2 guys operating the queen from the arm perspective. There's the kind of the prototype for that in the extras where it's a big kind of cardboard one.
Right, yeah. It's made out of bog roll or whatever.
So they reused this puppet for Alien Resurrection and painted it brown. And then I can't
Gave it a
remember.
womb for some fucking reason.
Cheers, yeah. And I can't remember if they reused it again in AVP, but it definitely was used again in.
It's very CGI in AVP. I think possibly they made another one.
Then because it's from. There's quite a cool image that it's in chains and stuff.
Oh no, I mean, again, the imagery of it's all fine. It's just sort of not really. And then when it gets out later, it's like a T-Rex running after them and stuff like that. It's like, well,
and doesn't it get knocked down into the ice on Earth?
Yeah, I guess
There's been an alien queen
like at the bottom of Antarctica.
I mean, the amount of problems that film fucking raises.
Yeah.
Flame on, baby!
Do you think that they'd all start popping or something as well?
That'd be great. They do that in the video game. They sort of pop and roast them. It's quite satisfying, yeah. This fucking man, this film has influenced so many video games. I know, so when they made Doom, they actually really wanted to make an Alien game. They could get the license, so they came up with it. And that, it's all about the Marines going to the place and all that.
Yeah.
There's loads of influential stuff in it, and video games with the fucking these type of guns and flamethrowers and all that. It's so, and this lends itself to a game really well, and has done a number of times. Not counting Aliens, Clone Marines, which sucks balls. I got it for £4 just to see what it was like, and it was awful.
I love that as well. That's intercut with all those rear projection bits. That's just really just really quick, but it's enough to give you the sense of it.
Yeah, it doesn't linger.
You have to let it linger. Do you have to? Do you have to?
Downtown.
Do you have to pull my finger?
That's my thing now. I'm just going to end the wrong song. Downtown.
Mono.
Well, it came off my pudding can.
Take my penknife, my good man. Is there a chance the truck could bend? Oh, we're not allowed to do a poo.
We got very derailed by Stephen Cumming. Because it was like he's just a great bank of Simpsons quotes. So nexus of male autism where we just
you can't do any kind of Simpsons quote without him not getting it.
He's a data bank, mate.
He really is. He's a first person. It's interesting that the first person. I mean, I had noticed it before, I guess, but I hadn't really.
It's not a technique that gets used often, and I think.
I sort of wonder why they use it. I suppose to put the audience in her shoes, I guess. But
it's interesting because what I'm finding interesting about with the inclusion of that first person stuff is that it's accounting for quite a lot of, not all of her movement, quite a lot of her movement is then represented on screen. There are a few time jumps here and there because that's just what happens in linear editing shit. But by doing that, it kind of shows because it's never. It will show she's in one place and cuts to first person, then you see her run towards the stairs, then you see her on the stairs, and it's. Look at that! It's just the amount of depth, and again, this is the hell thing, the ascent into hell, and kind of, and there is a kind of heaven hell thing here as well because this is all kind of flames and grime and red, and when they ascend up to the ship where they have the final battle, it's white and clean and
Yeah,
a bit more kind of heavenly
and then
looking.
the Queen's ejected out, and she's like a fallen angel.
Yeah, well, if you want to go
for
for the kind of Morning Star type thing, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's
Lucifer like falling out, getting kicked out of heaven. Maybe
that shot of the looking around the corner. Aliens love looking around corners.
When it comes out of the lift as well, it's pretty astounding. Like the way its head just sort of appears out of the mist.
So again, think to this in the lift and the T1000 in the lift.
Yeah,
These kind of recycled bits, but for different purposes and different style and whatever. I don't have a problem with it myself because they're good movies, man. I like the good movies,
I love the way actually. It's funny that I sort of only really just realised this, but in this, an alien uses a door and a lift. They're like, it's like there it is.
Deleted scene where one calls an Uber.
I love the way as well. It kind of gives it that dog quick inquisitive look,
which is what the T1000 does.
That's
that kind of headcock thing.
Yeah.
There's a very clear bag of tricks.
Yes.
For this era of Cameron.
Well, that is just that's the shorthand for I don't understand, isn't it? That's what
all this curiosity.
And it's known across like all animals, isn't it? Like dogs do that as like a what? It's weird, and you don't know why. Why do we do that? Why do we cock our head like? It must be something to do with the brain and how it works.
Like a kind of non-verbal cue. Yeah. Go on, Ripley. You can do it. I believe in you.
You can do it. Put your
You can do it. Put your back into it. My neck, my back. Lick my pussy and my crack. Lick it there.
Right.
Lick it good. Lick it. Downtown.
Going downtown.
Downtown. Well, I don't. Future south. That's the problem, isn't it? It's Simpsons and Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
When dementia finally claims my mind, I'll be sat in the nursing home fucking quoting Alan Partridge.
He thinks he's Alan Partridge. Venture south.
There's new porn on it. Michael! Frank does that really well. He does it really. Michael!
I'll have to get him to do that for me.
Stop getting aliens wrong.
It's not the beginning, it's the end of the beginning.
Oh!
Said Bishop. Oh! So just standing on the ramp with his arms wide.
Steve Coogan as Bishop.
So this is really like a bit cheeky in that during these shots the alien queen's quickly grabbing onto one of the... Well, she's not, is it? Because
this is one of these cornbag fake-out movie things where it's kind of like this enormous creature is fucking just humping the back of the ship.
Just alley-whoop! Like, it hides in the landing gear. Because it's not there, so the implication is it's because the landing gear gets trapped that it gives it something to grab, right?
I guess so. It's a tough one though narratively, isn't it? Because you've got to have that final, and you've got to have the. Actually, you can't use the phrase end game anymore. It's going to be about a year till you can use that.
Yeah.
You have to have this kind of end game essentially, and if you showed
it climbing in, then it would wreck.
It's a surprise because the big reveal is Bishop getting impaled. That's the point. And that's a big shock moment. Amazing effect.
Have they on this Blu-ray? Have they comped out his? When he's in the floor. When he's in half, and I remember on all the like DVDs and all the VHSs, you could see there's loads of times when Lance Henriksen's like reaching out, and you could see like the hole cut in the floor for him to be hiding it. I think they
never
erased
really
it.
noticed that.
I think
maybe they did.
They digitally erased it.
Well, that's the kind of stuff, right? I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
it's the George Lucas, because what George Lucas has done is made it this lazy shorthand where anybody doing that is evil and wrong. It's like it's taking Robert Patrick's cock and balls out of Terminator 2 that just cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
So because I assume my Blu-ray has his nuts in it. I don't know, but I think the T2 3D rejig re-release. Apparently they've brought out his sack, so which I never noticed.
I never used to notice it either. Yeah.
Well, I remember the DVD of the Terminator was the first time I saw Schwarzenegger's cock.
Yeah, it's like
slapping
about.
Just slapping against his thigh. And it's just like in the VHS or whatever, it's too dark and you can see it.
Yeah.
Not enough lines of resolution to see Schwarzenegger's glands. I believe it was an uncircumcised man, though. I'll have to study the Blu-ray release.
God.
Well, I think the 35mm I saw was the new print. It was the print that had been remastered for the DVD, and I'm pretty sure in the cinema you could see Schwarzenegger's dong as well.
Yeah, I think he's proud of that. Just keeps it in.
Oh, everyone's in the future. Everyone wears pajamas. I love you, robot. I love you too. Whatever your
love
name
you,
is.
Robot.
Oh my God! Oh! It's Ray Romano. Is
Yeah.
Would you like impaled? Milk, milk, milk.
Some.
Found not found. Look at that.
It was wasn't it an inflatable tail bit that got, or something? It was like collapsible and it got yanked out by a wire.
Oh, fantastic.
And then that's a puppet that's got like a joint in it that you
That's
can
so
twist and pull
good.
apart.
That
Yeah,
effect's so good. The way it kind of ragdolls as it kind of bisects him.
because they had to like wrap the alien queen's arms up in it and then they twisted it all apart and flung it. Because it's all fucking practical, don't forget. Right?
Yeah. I love this because this is presented in quite a similar way to the end of Alien, where the alien comes out, but this time she's not fucking having any of it.
Yeah.
Like before, she was terrified. She's singing Lucky Star and stuff, but in this, she's just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, there's
Get away
something bigger
from
than
her, you bitch.
something bigger than herself this time, isn't there? Which is the point. You know, it's like it was survival last time, but this time it's like, no, I have to win.
Yeah.
There's no, and that's again, it's talking about parenthood. It's like what it means to be a parent. It's like, and both of them, bearing in mind, she's just slaughtered the queen's kid.
This is the thing. It's the war of the mothers. Yeah, because she's just killed this creature's brood, and that's why it's come after.
It's
her.
not a fucking revenge. You know,
It's kind of like this whole thing of who started it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh my.
Oh my. A rolling
This
stone.
isn't very nice.
It's worth two. I'm in trouble.
I'm forever blowing.
I'm having bubbles. Oh, not feeling so great now. Penis.
Oh no, penis.
Ugh. Yeah, the fucking Queen.
Queen's like, oh, you know what?
Like, puts the grate back.
She sat down there with his foreskin pulled
You know,
back,
I'm
picking out the bits so you can make it turn it into another painting.
picking out the bits.
Ew.
Oh, Geiger's glands. Have you seen that cosplay where it's the guy's got his baby in the power loader?
Yes,
If you haven't seen it, anybody just Google baby power loader costume. It's fucking genius.
It's
So
cool.
clever.
Yeah, there's that couple who do like for every Halloween or whatever, they're dressed up as movie things and reenact it. It's really cool.
I love the fucking power loader.
Yeah.
Feet, but robo feet, big feet. Cameron in feet, but not in a skeezy fucking
Sheet.
Tarantino way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the difference between Cameron and Tarantino is I don't really get the impression that Cameron wants to fuck those feet or have them in his mouth. Like, that bit in fucking Salma Hayek's foot in his mouth from Dusk Till Dawn is so telling in retrospect. It's kind of like, oh god, he totally jacked it to that. It's so gross as well.
Yeah. I don't understand foot fetish.
It's one of these things that's totally harmless.
Yeah, no.
More power to you,
yeah,
but it's just like, I'll never get it. Fair play. I
This
will
is
never
really well
understand.
This has a lot of weight to it actually with the puppet and everything. You know, bearing in mind you're watching two puppets hit each other.
Yeah.
It's like,
And that's a real kind of balancing act you've got to...
and it's like, you know, you can tell hers is slow and cumbersome, but packs a wallop of, you know, so that's her thing, and the Queen is sort of faster, but less powerful.
Great sound. The sound effect there is very similar to the hydraulic press from the Terminator.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
In the same bank of facts. So
Yeah, Terminator fucker.
You're flushed into space, fucker, downtown.
You're going downtown.
Part time. Oh, that's great. The snappy, George, snappy, George.
Snappy, joy.
Well, hold on. So the stuff of her learning the power loader is in the director's cut, then, is it? Or is that in this? Because there's a scene of her using the power loader to move some shit. And
No, it was in this. It was in earlier.
Oh, it is when she's
not learning it, but like just.
Well, yeah,
doing...
proving that she's qualified.
Yeah. That was
okay.
it.
Because she goes and has a job, right? Initially.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that shot of it there because suddenly it's on this sort of like
it's flailing.
white
It's great.
light and everything.
Yeah, because it tricks you into thinking you're seeing it properly when you're not, because it's properly lit, but it's trapped on the thing, and it flails, and it's fucking great.
The tip's missing off the tail though. If you look at the tail,
Oh yeah,
it's like falling
stumpy.
off.
No, stop, leave me alone. He just loves it. Cameron loves his industrial shit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be very, very difficult to hold on to that.
Now look at Bishop. Once he stops and he's holding her, and I know in one of them you can sort of see the gap in the floor where he's hiding. But I think they got rid of it.
Oh, fuck off, you wanker!
You might almost say they fixed it in.
Oh.
But you wouldn't say that because that's a shit thing to say.
I'd never say that ever.
No.
Or name a thing after it ever. That'd be rubbish.
Bye. In this shot, it's always a bit like. It's like falling
Go
out.
to space now, bye.
Yeah.
It's another thing, the amount of times aliens in alien fiction get ejected into space, and we know they can survive in space.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, dude, that motherfucker's just going to run into
Oh yeah,
something.
they've got rid of it. They've comped it out.
Okay.
They've comped it out. It used to be able to, when he reached for New, you could see the hole in the floor and like his fake guts that are sort of attached to it.
This and the late Joe Pilato in Day of the Dead are the two great torso separations in cinema. Except Joe Pilato's full of guts. Great musical cue as well. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So I think it's been used in other trailers and things.
Loads of trailers,
It's
yeah.
a really great cue. The music of James Horner. If Brad were here, he'd be telling us all the James Horner facts because that is very much Brad's domain. We need to get Brad in to talk about composers because fucking hell.
We need to get him back in the bloody country.
Yeah, I mean that would help. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of priority one, really. I mean, I'm not going to pay for his flights or anything, but
wasn't all that yogurt and milk? Didn't it go off
It
at one
went south.
point? Yeah.
It's a funny thing. Like Joe Pilato, they used real animal guts that had been in a fridge that had been unplugged all weekend on a power cut, so they had to have rotten guts. So he had it way worse than Lance Henriksen did.
Yeah.
And you can see it on his face when he's like, the way he's breathing, it's because the foulness that he's kind of swimming in.
That's disgusting.
Great performance. My favourite villain turn ever.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so insane in that film. It's totally, the performance is at like 190%. It's just, but it works. It kind of plays the sensibility of that film. But we'll get to that.
Oh. Would you ever want to go into a hypersleep chamber? Do you think that's? I mean,
Well, not if I thought I was going to wake up 50 years later and be attacked by an alien queen, but
we know, but
well,
the idea.
I
of
mean, yeah, I'm alright with it. No problem with it. Because like in Event Horizon, you have to go in the fluid, which seems unpleasant, but these are just sort of go in a bed thing.
They say that's for the G-forces, isn't it? You have to be suspended in fluid.
That's
It's
a
a
nice
nice little
concept.
idea.
Yeah, nice concept,
Takes it an
yeah.
extra step, doesn't it? But then I suppose it's like those two things aren't the idea. You go into suspended animations to avoid like the fact that we don't have faster than light flight, but I suppose there's still G-force. I suppose it's still a fast ship.
Fast, yeah,
It's an ion drive, isn't it? In that, so it's kind of.
Then you've got, I think, most apart from Christopher Nolan's spacey wacy film, please. Interstellar really kind of deals with, well, part of the point. Christopher Nolan talks about time a lot, and he really deals with time dilation.
Yeah.
And you know, kind of mismatched time zones in the periods in that. But very subtle, kind of just this film just
Fades
go
away.
off to sleep, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know, science fiction tends to avoid the time dilation issue. Because you know, outside of black holes and stuff, there is this concept of relative time. You know, this is Einstein's concept, really. And films tend to avoid that because it's a bit of a can of worms.
Yeah.
Oh, my time's dilated. Using a time speculum.
Time's dilated by 7 centimetres. We need to induce.
To reduce time.
Giga.
Giga.
Yes, it is. Original penis designed by Giga penis.
The Sid Mead and Ron Cobb, they came back over from Alien, didn't they?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, ever. John Richardson, the
Yes,
short
right.
man comedian, did the special effects supervision. Stan Winston doing the second unit. I directed the second unit. I'm Stan Winston, played by Jackie.
Stan Winston.
Oh man, I haven't got my contact lenses in. I thought it said Paul Fucker, which of course it doesn't.
Production
Paul
controller.
Fucker. You little fucker!
You little fucker! I love that.
What's your name, kid? Aaron A. Aronson.
Yeah.
I love, man, the physicality of that. When he punches Simon Pegg, he just looks like I know Simon Pegg's like not huge, and Timothy Dalton is pretty tall.
Yeah.
Like he just looks like a monster. Like he
Yeah.
pulls back that punch, and it's just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's quite long limbed as well. I think as well. Tom Woodruff Jr. is on this. Was he in the alien suit for this? Well, lots of people were, I guess. But.
Yeah, I suppose this is because he's had a very long association with like Alec
He's
Gillis and
most of
Woodruff of
Yeah.
now the go-to people. Or I imagine.
I mean, they were. I gather. I think from like. I don't think they. He was in the suit in 3.
Right.
But yeah, from then on, it's just been him in every single Alien thing. It's like
all the Alien things. These are slow ass credits, and I know they're going to be long. So
no, they have at the end, don't they? Have the sound of an egg opening. I'll crank up the volume for
Randall
that.
Frakes. It's not the same as the fucking novelist Randall Frakes, is it? That'd be weird.
Because people.
Randall Frakes had your credit as.
Seiko is in the thing, sorry, yeah. And Recaro for Saints. Randall Frakes. Listen for the. I'm sure it's it. Or it happened and he talked over it.
Downtown. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there is precedent for what happens then in Alien 3.
So there's a credit for Randall Frakes as like special effects supervisor or something. Randall Frakes is a novelist and he novelised the first Terminator film.
Oh, okay.
And other stuff. So
Nice. So what this is?
What is this? Some kind of Dolby thing or something?
Yeah, we're remastering.
We're watching a weird CGI demo thing.
That looks like a funny.
That's a funny flower.
Yes.
People at home probably aren't watching this unless they've got the exact same Blu-ray as I do. This is kind of weird and trippy.
I think this is the sound, isn't it? Or something.
Listen to noises. Now they're loud and clear, like noises that are good. Noises.
THX, there you
THX and Skywalker Sound. The Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition. That's my VHS of the Star Wars Trilogy.
Wasn't the THX thing for a long time? It was the kind of T1000 sound, which is that now we know it's that ridiculous trumpet.
I think it was similar, but I think the Dolby one actually used it. And there was a T1000 thing one on the two DVDs. THX was a BOOM!
Yeah.
The fact, when I was at Southampton, the university screening rooms were THX certified.
Oh.
Dolby certified, yeah, they were proper auditoriums that we used for stuff. Well, there you go. Those aliens. Oh, did you know originally this was called Those Aliens with an exclamation mark?
Was it?
It's called Those Aliens.
Those aliens over there. It's right here, over there.
Subtitle:
Dirty shit.
Dirty shitter downtown.
Well, thank you if you stayed to the end. Well done. I hope that was at least entertaining. Obviously, it's a film that's been so much talked about that it just kind of feels. It doesn't feel redundant, but it's just kind of we needed to get it out of the way, and it is good to watch it again. It is really good to see it. And it's the theatrical version because actually I haven't seen that for a long time.
No, I haven't either. I missed the extended stuff, but
yeah, I do. But some of it I can leave, like the whole Newt's dad getting face hugged and stuff. I would leave out.
all the
early colony stuff I wouldn't have. But
it's not really needed. It's good stuff. I mean, yeah, I think the pacing suffers probably.
Yeah. There we are.
So 2 hours 20. That's 963 metric seconds. I'm using metric time. It's
300 seconds cubed.
It's 73 past 48.
And all's well.
On the 100th of May. Right, I'm going to put the hammer down on this.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon for another commentary.
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Bye.
Bye.
Support your 7th or 8th favourite YouTube channel by buying crap, tat, junk, hogwash and filth at redbubble.com/people/Val Verde Shop.